I have a lot of friends who are sober, a lot of friends who are straight edge, a lot of my friends who are going through it. I know struggling with substance abuse and alcoholism can be really, really hard, especially knowing who to turn to. It can be really, really daunting. I'm here to say that a good friend of mine and his friend started this incredible treatment center called Refine Recovery. They gave me a phone number, 855-516-3332. You can text, you can call them. It's totally confidential. It's safe. There'll be somebody on the other line to help you out, a compassionate human being to talk to help you navigate the process, the insurance treatments. They accept most of private insurances. You can go refinerecovery.com, Refine Recovery Instagram. I know it's hard, but reach out to somebody, man. People care about you. People love you. People want you to be here for a long time. People love you in their lives. If you're going through it, make this phone call. It's totally private. I know people DM me all the time about going through it and going through sobriety and trying to get straight and trying to take care of themselves. And the struggle is totally real. And Refine Recovery is the definitely move. Reach out to them, 855-516-3332, or text them, 855-516-3332. You can call or text this number anytime, 855-516-3332. You know the drill. This number is here for you to call. As we get older, we start paying attention to what we put in our bodies. I personally have been listening to my body since I was 18 when I went vegan. I've always been focused on my health. It's super important, mental and physical health. But it's really important for people who are just starting to get more healthy and trying to step up their life. Doing your homework, reading the labels, researching and verifying everything that's quality. It's part of the game these days. That's why I started drinking AG1s. I'm so proud to have them sponsor my podcast. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut support and is backed by multiple research studies. You can trust what you're putting into your body. We're all so busy these days, so just throw a pack of AG1 in the morning into a cup of water and shake it up and drink it. I love the way it tastes. I do it every single morning. It's part of my routine. I bring the packets on tour. It's an incredible life changer for me. Many supplements only reference research from ingredients in their product, but I trust AG1 in my daily routine because it's constantly putting the formula to the test. It's backed by multiple research studies, and one of those research studies, AG1 was shown to have double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which is super important because these help digestion in the immune system and the immune health. And these bacteria are known to help with digestion as well, gas and bloating, which I freaking need. And it also promotes regular bowel movements, what I can attest to. In another research study, 97% participants felt more energy after 30 days, and 91% of the participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days. I quit coffee like 5 months ago. I know I'm good on that. But AG1 is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients and is the perfect complement to my healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work, and it gives me a peace of mind covering all my nutrition bases for the day. In fact, I trust it so much, that's why I'm spreading the word about it. That's why it sponsors my podcast. Thanks to Angie Huberman for turning me on to AG1s, connecting me with them, and now they're part of my podcast. It's so easy and satisfying to start your day with AG1s. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of the vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your purchase at drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. It's never been a better time to focus on your health and wellness and get back on track, man. Take control of your daily health. Health is wealth. Got to give a big shout out to Liquid Death. I've been in a band called H2O for 30 years, and my first real job with a company is a water brand. Go figure. Love you, Liquid Death. Love the people. Love the brand. Love the concept. Love what they give back. Love the community. Love what they do for the environment. You can go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on any of their merchandise that they make. They have such incredible collabs. Also, if you want to hear the story of the CEO, my good friend Mike Cesario, on the podcast, you can go to episode 115, part 1. And then 2 years later, we dropped a part 2, which is episode 275 with the CEO, Mike Cesario. Just a man from Delaware with a dream, worked at a marketing company, and made this become a reality. Liquid Death is an incredible company, incredible water, incredible people. And I'm super, super honored to be part of them. They sponsor my life. They sponsor everything, my family. So go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on anything you want to buy on that site. If you want to get water, it's exclusively on Amazon.com. Murder your thirst, y'all. I'm going to do that one.
Are you sober?
Yeah,
sober.
I'm recording now, by the way.
Okay, that's all right.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen. Damn, you sound really good.
So do you.
Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. I'm in my kitchen with my fucking brother from another mother, one of my closest friends, the best hairline in Hollywood, best hairline in the fucking world, the sickest hockey butt. My brother, J-Bro, Josh Brolin, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm stoked. I was stoked. I was driving down from
like
up
the
north.
intro, though?
I do.
Okay.
That was really nice.
Cool, thank you.
Insecure. Yeah, I was really, because we've been planning on this for how long now?
Well, we came here a couple months ago. We took photos in the kitchen and steps, and then we just plunged on it all day and didn't do anything.
And then didn't do anything about it. Like we had planned a day,
yeah,
and then we just ended up outside because the vibe was wrong.
I got a little nervous just now, too, because we went to the art spot. We got coffee. I'm like, bro, we're going to be here hours. And then, we went right to it, though.
Yeah, because I knew I could feel you. There was some, angst.
Well, it's been since episode 168. It was 2022 last time you were here, 2 years ago.
168 is what I was on?
Yeah.
Do you want to give a little history, even though we did last time, about starting this? Are you going to talk about that?
Well, us meeting and stuff, or just
starting the podcast and what that was like, and should I start a podcast and all that, and what a weird thing that I wouldn't do the podcast for a couple of years, at least 2.5 years, until after you started. Not that I was looking for you to be legit. That had nothing to do with it.
You're also busy traveling everywhere, doing all kinds of things.
But I was so happy that you took the leap and started this podcast, because it's an amazing podcast.
Thank you. It was going to be called PMA Airwaves, and I did a post about it almost 5 years ago, and you were like the #1 supporter.
Did I like that title?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm so glad I changed it to this one, but yeah.
Me too.
But yeah, I mean, you always supported from the jump. And also, I respect the fact that I start off with my mom and my family and my band and stuff like that, people part of my journey. But yeah, I wanted to wait to have a lot under my belt before I have, people like you who are super, super busy.
I don't think you've ever had a better episode than the first one with your mom. I think you're more comfortable, like different people, incredible diversity of people. But your mom, that episode, when I listened to it, actually made me cry. It made me laugh and it made me cry.
Damn. Thank you.
That was cool.
That was pretty emotional.
Your mom's bitching.
Then you get to meet my mom here too.
Yeah, in this kitchen.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get to your amazing book, which I read, for the listeners, I'm not the best reader. I haven't read books in a really long time, and I actually read this book, and it was so fucking good. And my wife's still in shock that I read a book. She was trying to get me to read books for years. I like audiobooks. My attention span's pretty freaking wild. I shouldn't be doing caffeine, which I'm on right now. But yeah, just because I know you so well, and now I know why you are the way you are. We'll get into the book later. I have a bunch of things I want to talk about. But yeah, incredible book. Super proud of you. I know I've been talking to you the whole time. You've been writing this.
Thanks, man.
And along with your busy schedule with your family and all the movies and the TV shows, everything you're doing, you made this book. And I'm excited for people to get this book, too. It's exciting.
Me, too. And it means a lot to me that you would take the time. I mean, it sounds like bullshit, but it's not. That you haven't. I know this. You haven't read a book in 7 years.
Yeah.
And you've
But you would read my book if I had a book, too.
Of course I would. I mean, that goes without saying. But the fact that you would get up at like 5 a.m. and then you would text me at like 7, you're like, oh my God, I read 50 pages.
I know.
Like, holy shit.
And because of my ADD insanity, I went back and read it again to make sure I didn't forget things.
That's cool.
You know what I mean?
That means a lot, man. That says a lot about our friendship.
Yeah. And you did the foreword for my children's book, which is really sweet of you, too. And that was a children's book. I mean, someday, maybe I'll write a book. I don't know about my life. I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Dude, your life is so worth a book.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mine's not really.
Stop, dude.
But I made it. That's why I have to have an imagination, which you'll see in the book.
No, you see. Okay, before we jump into the book, there's a couple things I want to go over, a couple of moments. It's been a crazy year for you. Do a little recap. But before I get to the next thing, I'd like to give people their flowers on my podcast. That means, give you flowers while you're alive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I hate when I see people who pass away and everybody's posting about how much they love them and didn't get a chance to speak to them. So everybody gets their flowers on my pod. You did something really amazing, maybe almost 2 years ago, and you showed up to my show in New York with Eden and her man Cam, and came to my show in New York, and I really appreciate that. It was such a great moment, great show, man. It was so cool. Seeing you roll up to Brooklyn, roll up to the show.
It was great.
It was
Didn't we take the subway? I took the subway.
You guys did, yeah. But it was your first time seeing us, so it was really awesome for you to be there, so I appreciate that.
It was an amazing show, and I loved seeing you.
So fast forward.
And we were backstage.
Come on, of course you were.
It was cool.
But to fast forward, that's why this past year, me and my wife and my son flew out and we stayed at the Chelsea with you, and we got to see the premiere of Dune.
Yeah.
And that was so cool.
That was so cool.
That was so fun. My wife's dreamed to stay at the Chelsea.
Yeah.
I've never been to a movie premiere before. We all dressed up.
Is that the first one? No, the only other one that you had been was the one for Colin.
Oh yeah, the Irish one, the movie, yeah.
Which there
But
you
this
go.
is but
So both had to do with me.
Yeah, but this is like not that Collins wasn't major. This
was a major.
This is freaking Dune too, dude.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken walked into the room and the whole place like we froze. It's like he came like he was an angel through the side door. But yeah, going there for the premiere was amazing, man. The energy,
cool.
all
Thank
the people
you for coming
there.
to that.
Yeah, the after party, seeing like Sting come up to you for a photo. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
That was a surreal moment.
That was.
Even probably for you.
It was. I asked Sting because I'm an idiot. I asked Sting what he was doing there. He was like, I was in the first Dune. I was like, oh.
Steve Buscemi in the house.
Yeah. Norman Reedus was there. Everybody was there.
It was cool. But then that moment where I brought these chains with me. I brought like these gold chains out with me. I don't know why. Every time I dress up, I'm like, I need some chains. So every time I never dress up, but when I do, I bring these plastic gold chains. And for some reason, I put it around your neck. And that moment, Dave Bautista pulls up wearing real gold chains. And you guys take a photo together. It was so...
Do you have that photo still?
Yeah, it was such an amazing moment. Like you rocking a plastic chain with him. And he was probably like, why is Josh Brolin wearing these big, crazy chains?
He's like a little brother to me. It's so funny because he's so big. And every time I come up to him, he kind of like... He's so sweet. He's such a soft guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I come up to him, I go, come over here. And he's like, yes, sir.
It's always usually like the big jacked kind of tattoo dudes.
Always. That are the softest.
Yeah, the most
They're
emo.
sweetest. Yeah, emo. Exactly. That's a perfect word.
So, yeah, the Chelsea was amazing. Met a guy in the elevator who was living there for 45 years, talked about Sid Vicious being a sweet kid. And
because there's still people that weren't allowed to be kicked out. And do they pay rent? Or
yeah,
do they own it? They pay rent.
Pay
and
rent.
They've lived there for 40, 50 years or whatever. And the Chelsea has such a... Like, I used to stay in the Chelsea back in the day long before it was done.
I know. I need you to tell that toothbrush story. It's on my notes.
Oh, fuck.
Did you ever tell that story? Is it in your book? It's not your book.
No,
Is it a
it's
bad
not.
story?
I told you that story, didn't I?
Yeah, but not on the podcast. That's okay.
No, I'll tell it.
It's a
I don't
crazy
give a
story.
shit.
It's in my notes, but like, that's a wild one.
Do you want me to tell it now?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So we were staying. I was doing American Gangster. I loved
Great
the
movie.
Chelsea Hotel,
You're
and it
such
was
a
cheap.
dick in that movie, by the way.
I know.
Go ahead. You were great there.
So I was talking to Nick Pileggi and like who are we going to base it on and this and that. And anyway, I was staying at the Chelsea Hotel, and I used to drink at a place called Jake's Saloon right down the street on 23rd Street. And Jimmy runs the place, and I still talk to Jimmy once in a while, sober guy.
Shout out to Jimmy.
And Jimmy, what's up? And what's up, Jimmy? Yo, Pico Yard. So yeah, and then my wife at the time fucking hated the Chelsea Hotel because it was just dirty and it was, it has a vibe, man. And you either
grimy.
like that vibe or you don't. It's Patti Smith vibe.
Totally.
And not that my ex-wife wouldn't love Patti Smith. Love Patti Smith, who's part of that whole, she's from New York. But there was just something about it then. Anyway, that I would complain once in a while, and not that it was normal, but I would be like, nobody's cleaning the room, and it's been like 2 weeks and all that. And they're like, yeah, we'll get to it. And there was a sink almost in the middle of the room, and I had a toothbrush in like a cup. And then one day I saw that they cleaned the room. And that next morning I go to brush my teeth, and I grab my toothbrush, and all the bristles are brown. And I go,
disgusting.
And I didn't understand why. I was like, what do? They're trying to like clean the place with my toothbrush because they're pissed. They don't like me. And then I smelled the toothbrush.
Dude.
And I realized that toothbrush had been inside somebody as a reaction to me complaining about wanting the place cleaned.
So disgusting, man.
And yeah. And then I ended up staying there alone for the rest of the time because she left.
It's okay to listen to Patti Smith, like her records, but it's a different thing to like stay at a grimy hotel.
A shitty toothbrush
because she stayed there too.
Yeah, exactly.
I listen to my Patti Smith records at home.
That's a special place, man. The Chelsea Hotel now is very different, but it still has the same vibe because you meet somebody who's been there for 45 years in the elevator. That's cool. Like, where else can you do that?
Sid Vicious was a sweet young boy. That was crazy.
It's crazy.
Guy's probably paying like $600 rent.
Seriously.
But
so cool.
Yeah, the history there. My wife is so psyched to be there. Like, it was just, the rooms are beautiful. It's It was a magical weekend with you, man. So I appreciate that. It was really, really fun.
Both weekends were magical. In Brooklyn and both were in New York.
Yeah.
That's cool.
There's some more nerd shit I have in my notes, but there's a hardcore band called Shai Halud. They've been around for a long time. My friend was in the band who I actually owned this house with back in the day.
Yeah.
I never realized that was something from Dune.
Well, now you do.
I
mean,
know.
you did. Now you do.
I did now, but it was just I was always that's such a weird name for a hardcore band, but that's the band.
You thought it was just the hardcore band. You didn't realize that it came from Dune.
No, but did you know it was a hardcore band named Shai Halud?
No.
And we're playing with them coming up in Alabama. It's crazy, dude.
That's crazy.
What about? I know you trained for a lot. What about your training for Dune? Is that more intense than anything you ever done because of where they filmed it, how hot it was, the sand, just everything. I remember talking while you're over there working on it and stuff. But like, is it more intense than anything else?
No, I think no. Yes and no. So no, to answer it in a nutshell, doing like Cable and Deadpool 2 was more cosmetically necessary, that I got into a certain shape, but I wasn't necessarily in great shape. I was just cosmetically, I was in good shape. I didn't have like high blood oxygen levels and all that kind of stuff. I didn't do a lot of cardio. It was just more about sculpting.
Yeah.
And then
oh, that was really your body in Cable.
Dune, I had this sword fight that I had to do, and I thought I was in good shape, and then I ended up in Budapest, and I started doing workouts with the stunt guys there, and I realized I was in shit shape.
Damn.
I wasn't even close to where I needed to be. And then once we got to outside of Abu Dhabi, we were in sand every day.
Yeah.
And then there was a place right in front of the hotel. Literally, the hotel was the only place within 100-mile radius of 100 kilometers. And there was an 800-foot dune face right in front of the hotel, and I used to climb it every day. And the first time I did it was literally the hardest fucking thing I've ever done in my life. Like, you'd climb and climb and climb and climb, and like 15 minutes later you'd look back and you'd gone like 6 feet.
Yeah.
So mentally it fucks you up.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I could climb that like no problem, and then I would walk around, and I got in super good shape. So when I did that sword fight, I was ready. I think that and Old Boy, I was in the best shape of my life, interiorly.
Yeah, and it's so hot out there too,
dude. It's fucking crazy hot.
It's crazy. And you spend how long you stay out there usually for that? How long are you out there for Dune?
I was there for 6 weeks. I was in Jordan for 4 or 5 weeks, and I was in Budapest for 2.5 months. But I loved it, man, because you get out. What I find happens, like we were just out in the desert in Joshua Tree over the weekend, and there's something that happens. You get tweaky. You know how ADD you are?
Yeah.
Tweaky you get. So I get like you, and I get a little tweaky, and then I have to and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the sunset. And then your voices start. Why am I watching the sunset? I'm wasting my time. I should be doing something else. I should be reading something. I should be. And then after maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes, you get into this place where you're like okay with everything that you weren't okay with, and the voices get a little quieter, and there's not as many voices, and you're like, I'm right exactly where I should be. So there's this Zen aspect to it that just kind of overtakes you, and then you realize that all the shit that you've been worrying about is like fucking nothing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We get caught up in this kind of urban mentality where we start worrying about a bunch of shit, and then you realize that's all you're doing. That you're just spending your time worrying. You're not really spending your time doing anything else. Yeah. But worrying. Is it hard for your brain to shut off at night and go to sleep? It is, because I usually get up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I get shit done. Then it's quiet. The kids are asleep. So like this morning I was up at 2 and I fell back to sleep at like 4. Woke up at 6. So your sleep's all crazy, always. It is. It's probably not good for me. But for a long time, it's been like that for you? No. I've gone through different times. I used to celebrate not sleeping. I did. It was like, when you're younger? Yeah, of course. When you're younger and you're like, I slept 2 hours last night. Yeah. I don't need to sleep. I'll sleep when I die. Yeah. That kind of shit. And then you get older and you're like, you need sleep. Dude, it's like healthy. One night bad sleep, you're fucked. You're fucked. I know, man. The next day. It's so important. Writing this book, not that we're getting into the book, but writing this book, like the best time for me to write the book was between 2 and 5 in the morning, because everybody was asleep and it was quiet and I could think. I could just flow. And you're awake enough to even do that. It's crazy, man. Are you having coffee? It just happens. Yeah. No, I'm not having coffee. I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep. That's crazy. you like, you have no knowledge of caffeine. That's what's so funny. It's like, wait, you wake up and go back to sleep. So did you have coffee?
Some people can do that though.
No, they can't.
People tell me.
By the way, it's full of shit. Because my grandfather used to say that. He goes, I have a cup of coffee and then I go to sleep. And I go, yeah, but you're up 2 hours later. That's why.
2 hours.
The coffee is why you're up 2 hours later. You can go to sleep because the coffee hasn't really kicked in yet.
Yeah.
Nobody can be on caffeine and be asleep.
I know.
It's not the same kind of sleep, even if they can.
So they're lying to us.
They are lying. No, they're lying to themselves.
And one thing we were talking about, because I was just in Europe and you were over there too, filming Knives Out, which I'm really psyched to freaking see. And we were talking the whole time we were there, just jet lag and sleep and just like being away from your family, just all that stuff, like just how you have to try to balance it all mentally, physically, and you're working over there too. It's hard, man.
It's hard because, I mean, it's the only time I've ever traveled without family.
Yeah.
So I was there and I would have these I'd be rehearsing or whatever by myself in the hotel room and they'd send security up and tell me to be quiet, all this kind of shit. Yeah, man, because I really wanted to. It's a great part.
Yeah.
It's a great part in Knives Out. And
it's exciting,
really good people involved. But the thing that you and I were talking about was the fact that you get fucked up by jet lag now.
Absolutely, man.
And I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like being up, until an hour before you have to be somewhere, and then you sleep an hour, and then you're just all twisted up. You were more fucked up about it than I was.
I know. And I flew business class for the first time.
For the first time. Was that because of me? It was.
Probably.
But you got an amazing price for your ticket. Amazing price.
Yeah.
You bought it for your whole band.
Yes.
Which is cool. And then you would text me, you'd be like, dude, I'm laying down in the seat.
I know, man.
They just offered me water like 4 times.
They asked me if I wanted more vegan food, gluten-free options. They were waking me up.
It's so cool, though.
Mr. Morse. But even that, okay, the sleep was great. I made it over there.
Wait, let me interrupt you for a second.
Go.
What I love about you, where you and I think, parallel, where we meet, is the fact that we like, without being forced to, that we find ways to stay grounded.
Yeah.
And we don't give ourselves these little gifts like you giving yourself the business class seat. Yeah. You're like, why would I do that? Why would I
guilty? Yeah, punk rock guilt.
Right, punk rock guilt. That's exactly what it is.
I don't deserve this.
That's
I'm not worthy
exactly
of this.
what it is.
And
without
sucks.
going and being like, I went to somebody's house recently. I won't say who it is, but I went to somebody's house recently, and they had like a maid. They had a couple maids, and I went there and we brought them croissants, and the guy pointed at the croissant and he told the maid, "I want this one." And I was like, why don't you just open the fucking box and grab the croissant? Dude. That's what I'm terrified of. I'm terrified of a moment like that being okay.
Yeah.
It's just like, open the fucking box, grab the croissant yourself, stuff it in your mouth, and then that will be its own thing. It's like, that will lend to the kind of communal effort of me getting you the croissant, you eating the croissant, you reacting to the croissant. When you have a maid that needs to take it out for you,
dude,
that's getting into that like punk rock guilt.
But that's what I mean about you. You're like the most un-Hollywood person I know. You're not even Hollywood, dude. You're not even from Hollywood. It's like, I think it's because how you grew up, the friends you had, all the stuff you've been through. We'll talk about in your book, the ups and downs, the highs, the lows, the pain, everything. I feel like that made you who you are, and I feel like that keeps you grounded. And the fact that you still the same person you were, and you're still very humble. You had all the success, all these master blockbusters, all this shit, but you're still fucking driving in a truck, wearing flip-flops, fucking just you have no fancy cars. You live so fucking humbly, if that's a word. And I'm not just saying it because you're my best friends, but I don't know, I feel like you just keep it real in the sense, you know what I mean? And like,
but I think you always have a choice. I think you could,
because you could have the maid open up your fucking croissants for you if you wanted to. You could have that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So. Yeah. I just don't want it.
Yeah, you can get your own croissants.
Yeah, I can eat my own fucking croissants.
That's a crazy story, but yeah, but that's that person. That's their reality. That's like the world they're living in.
And also, it may be, that's what I was going to say, it may be a compensation. I don't blame people like that. I just go, this is how they deal with whatever way they grew up.
Yeah.
I don't want to deny how I grew up. And it wasn't all painful. Some of it was spoiled and some of it was all good. And my dad was an actor and he did well, and then he didn't do well, and then he did do well. And and then there's divorce and there's all the stuff that we all go through, you know what I mean? But the truth of the matter is how do you deal with it? Remember, somebody told me once, somebody in the AA program who's a wonderful, wonderful guy. He was like, look, it's great that we're like this. Just as sober alcoholics, we're fucking gnarly, we're edgy, we're angry, whatever. And I was like, that's a good thing? How is that a good thing? And he was like, because left to its own devices, it can be the most destructive, fucked up thing that you can, you know what I mean? Creating pain in every direction. And yet, given the right tools, which is something that we weren't necessarily given as youngsters, that we can be the most productive people. We can be the most progressive people. And I was like, I loved that mentality. It's your choice.
Yeah, 100%.
Learn what those things that you didn't learn when you were younger and have a positive impact. That's your whole thing, PMA, man. Yeah. Maybe that's another reason why we're friends. I don't know. No,
it's just amazing. Just like you never let it get you. You never let it get to your head. You never forgot where you came from. I just dropped the pod today, Rob Trujillo from Metallica. Same thing. Venice dude. Still was wearing Dickie and Vans in Metallica, suicidal, infectious groove. Still hangs out in Venice. Still surfs. Yeah. Still goes to punk rock shows. Still part of the culture. Because it's something inside you. It's like something. It's like a spirit of youth, or it's something more than just the music. It's more than where you come from. It's just something. I don't know. It keeps you grounded, man. Also, the people you surround yourself to as well. It's like we don't have big circles of friends. It's just a small, tight knit quality.
And isn't that why?
Quantity.
I mean, yeah, but isn't it like if you're writing songs or if I'm doing movies, aren't you representing humanity in some way? Yes. So if you get away from that whole thing, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm going to write stories about the human condition, but I have no knowledge of the human condition anymore because I live in a fucking penthouse somewhere, a $50 million penthouse. And you go, well, how do you represent then? I don't understand.
Yeah. It's
like
so
you
true.
do forget. If you don't tap into that thing, you do forget.
Yeah.
When you take the subway to your thing, it's not an affectation. It's like, isn't that the cheapest way? Why do I need to take any other way?
Yeah.
Get on the subway. What's wrong with the subway? There's nothing wrong with the subway. And shit happens on the subway that's interesting.
I love the subway.
Nothing happens in Uber that's interesting. Yeah. Otherwise, maybe a guy here and there trying to kidnap you.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, it's true. I mean, I've always prided myself on living my lyrics in real life. Like I love people that write stuff that they're actually living about and singing about. Obviously, people change. You wrote a song 40 years ago and you're still in that same band. Obviously, you're going to grow and change. Some things will be different. But for me, I don't know why. It's always kept me young and what I sung about. My friends are like me, like family. Yeah. It's true. My friends still do that. You know, that song was written in 1993 or something. It's still my life.
And people are still singing it.
Yeah, still
all
singing
over the world.
Yeah.
Because there's a connective tissue between, that's the thing, is like politically, not to get into a political thing, but when those two people came out and they didn't shake hands, I go, fuck you.
I know, I loved your post about that.
Fuck you, man. We're representing the same fucking country.
Yeah, just respect.
How are you not shaking hands? You have different belief systems based on the same country.
Yeah.
And I go, if it's not ultimately a communal thing, it shouldn't be anywhere under that same roof, under that same umbrella.
Yeah. It's like when people come out, they don't smack their knuckles when they're about to do a boxing match.
Exactly.
Or a UFC fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like
and it's fun, it's dramatic. Courtesy. If you're Conor McGregor and you're creating a whole thing, and I know people play into that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you're not a good sport, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Is it real hatred? You're like, oh, I really hate that guy. Well, maybe if he said something, that's justified.
Yeah.
But if you're just doing it like within the sport, it just makes no sense.
It's like WWE wrestling.
Yeah.
It's like fake. You know what I mean? It's like what's really real, what's really happening right now.
Exactly.
But that's a whole other podcast. But yeah, it's so true. It's like you can't even shake hands and not look each other in the eyes. Like, what happened to that?
No, I know, man.
Do you know what I mean?
Sports, and that's what you're trying to teach your kids. And then if you don't have representation of adults doing that, then the kids will like, why would I do that?
Or just presidential candidates like talking trash about each other on Twitter or like on social media.
It's not even talking trash. It's literally talking shit. It's like literally trying to say, if you vote for this person, you're the worst human being imaginable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you go, either way, I go, I don't want representation like that. I want people who are actually looking out for their people and trying to help humanity.
Yeah, I don't even know the last time we had something like that either, to be honest, but it's been a long time.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Okay, next up, this is a great moment. This is like the recap of 2024 for Josh Brolin right now. But SNL, man.
That was fun. Incredible. I wish you were there.
Me too. Incredible, though. It was just, I mean, all this, everything, man. Do you write the skits? Are you part of writing some of the skits in there?
No, okay. I'm not really. The monologue.
The monologue.
Yeah, like Lorne didn't really want to do the ice bath. He didn't want to do the plunge.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame him. But I just said,
It
look,
works so well.
I'm not, because some of those monologues don't really work, and you can feel the joke just dying.
Or it's being forced.
And I said, let's not be funny. Let's just be me.
Yeah.
Let's instead of trying to be funny, why don't we just represent what exists, and that's me. And then the skits can be funny because they're written by somebody else, and then just hop on that banner of other people who do this for a living, as opposed to trying to do it myself.
But like taking off your shirt and going in your underwear, and like that was I don't think nobody's really ever done that before.
No, and I don't know if anybody will ever do it again.
But it works so well.
It doesn't matter. It's what we represented.
I love the Sandwich King too.
I love the Sandwich King too.
The Shrimp Tower, bro. Oh my
God. Shrimp Tower was
dude.
super fun.
That was so good.
We got nominated for Emmys for, what was it? I think we won for production design.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool.
And the plunge was really cold, huh?
What was the great dude? So they said, "Do you want it cold?" I mean,
we're gonna talk about this. Okay.
They said, "Do you want it cold?" I said, "Do whatever you want." Because then I don't know, and I get in. If it's cold, it's a shock and all that. I got in. I saw the ice cubes. I said, "Oh, it's going to be really cold." It was 105 degrees or something. I literally felt like I was like going into lava.
Ice cubes were melting in there.
No, but the ice cubes were fake.
Oh shoot! I didn't even know that.
No, they were plastic.
Wow, dude.
Oh, this
100
coffee's
degrees.
fucking me up, dude.
It's a mega shit. Now I take a shit break. You getting jittery? Wasn't the Californians? Were you on the first Californians that debuted in 2012? I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the first. It's such a great.
Californian was genius.
Oh my goodness! Someone who wrote
Bill
that.
Bill Hader, and who was it? Fred Amundsen. They wrote that, and they used to do it like as a joke during table readings for like 2 years.
So good, dude.
And then finally they said, let's do it. I think I was the worst part of that because I was like, I'm from California, and Californians sound like this. Yeah. Which was less funny than how they sounded.
Yeah, over the top.
Yeah.
But it's so true after you watch that and hear the way people talk. Even Max talks like that all the time. Directions and stuff. It's just so funny.
To the 101 to the 134 to the 14 to the fucking 62 to the.
Yeah, they really nailed it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. SNL was such a great moment watching that. I was so proud. You killed it, man. It was just cool.
Thanks, dude.
And you wearing Catherine's shirt mid-heaven when you introduced. What's the guest? What's her name? The girl. Who's the girl?
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, she was cool.
And she was super cool. And I remember I asked her about her heritage because I met her mom. Her mom was super cool.
Yeah.
And I asked her about her heritage, and she said, what was it, Sicilian and Greek? I was like, holy shit.
That's sick.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Sicilian and Greek?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't fuck with her, man. And she's like fucking 5 feet. She's like 4'11". She's super small, but she has this presence. She has this crazy presence. Talk about somebody who's been through shit, and you can feel it. But she has this great attitude. She's just constantly living above whatever shit that she's been through. Yeah, she's cool. I have a lot of respect for her.
She's kind of off the radar, too. Obviously, she's on social media, but you don't hear much about her. She just does her thing, you know?
But isn't she followed by like 3 billion people or something like that?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It is crazy.
Then we had Outer Range come out this year, Outer Range Season 2, which I thought was awesome.
Canceled.
It's okay. I was really sad about it, but you as an actor, you
guys did great. We're really proud of you. Canceled. What the fuck? Really?
It was so good.
Canceled.
People were asking me, people were texting me, asking me to ask questions to you about the show.
About what was going on?
Yeah, and I was asking you about stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's just so good. The cast was great. It was just a great show, but it's crazy when things get canceled. For me, I'm like, oh my God, that's so sad. But for you, it's like, you're used to that being in this industry.
No, it's not that I'm used to it. Like it
still makes you sad though.
Dude, it depends on what streaming service you're on, and like the fact that, people want an instant hit. What I was saying to these people was that you have Yellowstone, which took 2.5 years. I mean, I actually recently talked to Kevin Costner about it, and he was like, yeah, 2.5 years it took to kind of hit.
Dang.
And we had 2 years. We went from a 79% Rotten Tomatoes rating the first season to a 92 the second season. So, and an audience approval rating that went way up and all that. So obviously people liked the trajectory of where we were going.
Yeah.
And then you cancel it. So listen, it's their business. It's their money. They do whatever they want. We'll go on and do what we do, and continue to be involved in other stories and all that. But I think it was knocked off too soon. I think it deserved at least one more season.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I was like, that was kind of shocking because it was really good and
Yeah.
it was doing so well. But I remember you were plunging out there with no sauna. You'd wake up, you go right into your plunge outside. Where are you, like in Mexico? New
I had a
Mexico?
plunge because of you.
No, you had a plunge, but you do that without a sauna in the freezing cold.
No. You do a thing, Laird does this, where you go sauna, ice.
Yeah. But you weren't.
But the biggest benefit, it was like 14 degrees outside.
I know. It was like snow on the ground sometimes.
And I would get up for work at like 5 a.m. And the first thing I'd do before I could even think was just walk outside, get in the plunge for 3 minutes. And it started off my day perfect.
It's no joke, man.
No joke, bro.
But you did that also for like a year or two. You never got sick or something. We talked about
Never
that as
got sick. And then when I stopped doing it that much, I started getting sick all the time.
Yeah.
Why?
It's interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now I don't have a plunge.
I know, man.
I don't have a plunge
You gotta fix
because we're
that.
renting a place and
miss it?
everything's in store. Do I miss it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In a major way.
Yeah.
Why do you think I'm here?
I know.
I'm not here
Plunge
for the
activists.
interview. I'm here for the plunge, dude.
And also the Dune Exposures book came out this year. That was great. And what you think at Barnes & Noble, the book's beautiful. That was such an amazing product you put together.
Thanks, man.
What's
Me
the
and
guy's name? you did
Greg
with?
Fraser.
Yeah, Greg Fraser. Yeah.
Greg Fraser, who it's all his photographs and all my writing.
Yeah, and the book did really well.
I'm looking at it right
I know,
now.
man.
You have it. You've always had it there. Every time I've come over, it's been there.
It's a beautiful book, man.
Thanks, bro.
And then you on the Tony Hawk podcast. That was great too.
That was good.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
Are you into skating?
Come on, bro. That was fun. We talked. Yeah.
Do you know who Tony Hawk is?
Yeah.
That's
Freaking
cool.
Michael Jordan of skateboarding.
It's true, actually.
That was cool to see you on that, just because your roots and your history with skateboarding.
And with him,
Yeah.
I've known him since he was like, I don't know, how old is he now? I'm 56, so he was probably 7. No, he was probably 14.
Really?
No, are we the same age? How old is Tony Hawk?
I don't know. It's like it's almost 60.
No, dude.
Yeah, dude.
You're
of
talking about
course.
he's not older than me. He's not older than me, dude. No, we might be
do a
the
fact
same
check
age.
on that.
So if I was 17, he was 17. So
Yeah.
I've known him since we were 17.
It's crazy, man.
It is crazy. I saw him in the beginning.
I know. Was Christian Story in there too?
Yeah.
So crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's so
Caballero.
Caballero, yeah.
Caballero. Caballero.
Okay, from under
Whatever.
the truck, dude.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Okay.
I have more notes, but this is. I don't know if I'm gonna read some parts of this book. I think I should. I think I could edit it pretty good. But there's so many.
I want to hear you read it. I haven't heard anybody
dude.
read it out loud.
Me on caffeine. Let's go. Okay, from under the truck. Thanks for my shout out in here too, bro. I love you. Appreciate it.
The what?
I saw my name in here. It was really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, I already texted you about this part. It's just your mom was so incredibly full of life, insanity, love, passion, fearless. And it's just this one part where you swear in front of her and she's just like, don't curse. And you're like, sorry, Mom. And it's like everything that's happening around you is freaking a whirlwind of insanity with like bar fights, chases, just everything. And it's just your mom's like, don't curse. I just love that's her mom.
It's so ironic.
Yeah, it's like
and
that's
so
her,
motherly.
Yeah, it's just like her being a mom with you.
Yeah. Which didn't happen often, but when it would happen, it was almost confusing when it would happen, because it was almost like, oh, this is the time I should be a mom. So it was almost like a conscious decision. Like, oh, this is a good place to say, don't curse.
Just throw this in there.
Yeah, but I remember there was a conversation I had with my mom. We were living on the ranch, and we were in the. God, fucking what an asshole! But I said something. It was a different time.
Yeah.
And I said like the F word or something, and she was like, "Don't use that language." And then I went down this whole. I kind of like what do you call it? I deconstructed the whole thing, and I was like, now what does it matter if I say if I don't say the F word, if I say something like pencil but I mean the F word, then you don't know my intention, because I'm doing what I want to do anyway, but you're getting something that's false. Wouldn't you rather me say something that's true so you can deal with it on a head? Anyway, I had this whole thing, and she was just like, go away. She was like, I don't like talking to you. Go away.
She just shut you down?
She did shut me down, but that was kind of the beginning of like me getting what I want when I wanted it any way that I could.
And then her like talking to that biker, like, why do you have a comb in your back pocket?
Yeah.
When you guys were at AJ Spurs.
That was real.
And then she's like,
It was Iron Horse then.
that comb in your back pocket looks faggy.
Looks faggy.
And like,
that was her. And it's so funny
dude.
because my mother was the least judgmental person that I knew. I mean, she was had all kinds of people around her, which I loved about her. You know what I mean? So she had a gay friend and this. And back then it wasn't like it is now.
It's not like, it's totally different.
But it was, how can I incite something different?
Yeah.
That was her. And that's what she was known for. And I don't know if it was innate or I felt like she consciously had to do it. But to take a huge fucking cowboy, like homophobic cowboy, and call this, comb in his back pocket faggy was like not, like for all intents and purposes, not going to turn out well.
No.
And it always turned out well for her.
Yeah.
How?
They were buying her drinks after.
Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Free drinks for Jane.
Calypso coffees. I never know what that is.
Light rum Tia Maria with a little whipped cream on top. It's a speedball. I say it in the book. It's like a speedball.
Let's see what else I have in this book. I have a lot of things to say.
Like you're awake at 5 o'clock in the morning asking your kids what you did the night before because of the coffee, but then you're in a blackout because of the alcohol.
Also, your friend Danny, who like took his own life, man. That's a heavy story.
Yeah, that was my best friend growing up. I mean, my best friend until I left.
Yeah, that was a crazy at the 22. But it was known for you guys to have guns. You guys all had guns at young ages back then. Well, you've been around guns.
Just around guns.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy that lives at the end of our dirt road, in Paso Robles, and I've known him my whole life, and he was very sweet. He's, again, we're talking about different belief systems.
Yeah.
We have very different belief systems, but when I bring the kids over to his house, he always takes down the guns. I find that incredibly respectful and conscious of our belief system.
Yeah.
Like we have guns and all that, but they're in safes and all that. And having, dealt with Danny's suicide and all this kind of stuff, like I have a feeling around that. I don't want kids to have access to guns. And I never said that to him.
Yeah.
It just happens. That to me that's neighborly. That's brother. That's connected.
Yeah.
That's shaking hands when you come out to debate.
Yeah.
You know what I
Look
mean?
each other in the eyes.
Yeah, man.
Also, like when your dad started sleeping in a different room, like all that, the beginning of the divorce and stuff and your mom have a 9mm by her bedside and stuff, and your dad coming home and just.
Yeah, she was on a hit list.
I know, it's crazy. I know, man.
And nobody on that hit list died. I can't say who, because I know it was I know those guys' profession, those guys that got kind of screwed out of a lot of money.
Yeah.
But she was number 3 on the hit list, and the first 2 got the shit kicked out of them so bad, like they were hospitalized.
Yeah. It's crazy. And she survived. I mean, nobody got her.
Nobody got to her. They caught them before they got
I like this part too. Punk rock felt smoother. Punk rock aligned with days spent with friends as we combed the streets and experimented with youth. We shaved our heads, took LSD, found mosh pits in the night, drank warm Mexican beer, fell asleep during class, leered at cops as they drove by disrespectfully passing us, and got up at 5 a.m., hopped on our bikes to go surfing before the day started, even if it was flat.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, man.
That's all true.
Yeah. It's just your connection to punk, and just, it's crazy because punk back then was so shocking and violent and scary and intimidating. Mm-hmm. And you're also coming from this kind of crazy, household. And
it made sense. It's like they instigated it. The parents instigated it. What do you want me to do? I didn't realize how punk classical music was until later.
Yeah.
And how punk like Mozart was, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got that later. But my dad sitting there, like he would do it to calm himself, to be meditative in some way. And I was like, that's not what we're doing. And they had instigated, because there was such a maelstrom in that household, fighting all the time and all that kind of shit, that it's like, of course I would get into punk, because that's what was representative in the house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But punk felt to me like the craziness that I knew, but there was a community that I could rely on.
Yeah.
As opposed to not trust.
They were going to be there always.
That was going to be there always. And I think that's what whether it was punk, or whether it was the beginning of CITO Rats,
or
whether it was AA, or whether it was a chopper crew,
Yeah.
I've recreated it or I've found it again over and over and over because it's the thing that I appreciate the most when you actually can rely on your brother.
Yeah.
Or
So
sister.
true. Yeah, it's like it's another dysfunctional kind of family, but it's different because it's not blood and it's no judgment. I mean, obviously you get your balls broken with groups of friends, but yeah, it's something very special, punk rock community, man.
Yeah, but balls broken when you're mean is one thing. Balls broken when you're
Love.
fucking with, out of love. And there is a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
There's a major difference.
You can feel it too.
I fuck with you all the time. You fuck with me all the time.
It's true.
But, it's not mean.
Also,
Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
shooting No Country for Old Men with a broken collarbone. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because you had the accident with the car, like on it was Highland Avenue? Yeah, Highland Boulevard.
Close to here.
Yeah.
By Mel's Diner.
That's crazy, too, is going out there like that. You weren't sure if you're going to be able to work with that, right? It just worked out.
No, it was in the air for so long. I had a lot of time to think about
Yeah.
what was going to happen. I thought I broke my neck when I landed because I heard this loud snap. And then I rolled out of it in kind of a panic. And I got up and my arm was just kind of hanging there. And I tried to pick up the bike and I couldn't pick up the bike. And
Was the person freaking out?
no, she was kind of, she was. She was in shock.
Yeah.
And then I started to go into shock. Like I remember I started getting tingly and I started going into the shock. And this guy was telling me that I needed to apologize to her. And I couldn't understand that.
What?
Yeah, he was like, you scared her. And I was like, she fucking turned left. I hit the car. And I was flying over the car. I didn't create this.
Yeah.
But the only reason I was able to do the movie is because the character is shot in the right shoulder and my right collarbone broke.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's
perfect.
It's kind of nuts.
Also, feeding like 65 horses at 5 a.m. when you're 8 years old, that
Yeah.
sounds crazy to me, man. That's a lot of horses.
But it's good.
A lot of horse shit.
It's a lot of horse shit. I didn't do a lot of mucking. I did a lot of feeding, but
It's
I
called
didn't
mucking?
do a lot.
Okay.
Mucking is picking up the shit.
Okay.
But it's what my daughter Eden, who's 31, she says to me now, like, one of the greatest memories I have is going down and getting the chicken eggs in the morning. But she was like 4 and 5.
Crazy.
And but I remember when I was asking her to do it, she didn't want it. Nothing about her wanted to do it. And she would cry and she would say, but I don't want to. And I said, no, I totally get it. Like I wouldn't want to either, but that's not the point. The point is you have to. And giving kids responsibilities to do something like that looked torturous at the time. But now she looks back and she knows it instilled something in her that she even utilizes today.
For sure.
In being a better person and taking responsibility for things and all that. So that was a good thing.
Well,
and I try to do that with my little kids now, but it's more difficult. My fucking kids are hard-headed, man.
Were you riding horses at a young age?
Really young.
Yeah.
Really young. And I got bucked off pretty severely when I was 10. So I kind of replaced the horse with a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then I started to get back on horses probably in my teens at some point.
Yeah. I never ridden a horse before. It'd be kind of fun.
No.
No.
You don't look much like a cowboy.
I'm gonna read this one. We'll get to where this is from, but just because I appreciate this. I had diarrhea all day. It was great.
Aw.
I shat at least 12 times.
Aw.
It's my favorite thing to do. I'd much rather be doing that than working. I wonder where everybody is leaving. Javier left, and Kelly's going back to England soon. I'm not working tomorrow, so I hope that the stars line up and I have diarrhea all day tomorrow. And if I'm lucky, maybe I'll puke a few more times and have blood in my urine. Only one can dream. I miss my family. I miss my kids. Dude, for somebody...
Sarcastic.
It's so good, though. It's so good. Just because I have a weird thing with shitting in my life. I always had shit issues and stomach issues before I quit gluten. Yeah, and coffee. Yeah, and I've shit in public places, and I have all kinds of stomach weird things. I've wore butt.
You shit in public places?
I used to.
Really?
Before I quit eating gluten. Swear to God.
Wow.
But I would carry butt tampons. I would roll up toilet paper and carry it in my pocket, and I have these little butt pads, and I put it in my butt
like
cheeks.
Depends?
I'd make it myself in case I had issues in Manhattan because it was so hard to find a bathroom growing up and living in the city for so many years. You couldn't find people that used the bathroom back then. So you'd be shitting in subways and stuff. Yeah.
You shit in public, dude? Like, that's pretty gnarly. Like, you're a pretty sensitive guy, but then I'm thinking like, like I see you a little bit differently now. My relationship with you just changed a little.
I got friends who do the same. I can't say that. I'll tell you after the podcast.
I just started sweating.
I've always had a nervous stomach, man, until I started like.
Yeah, but having a nervous stomach and shitting in public is not particularly related.
So I can relate to you having diarrhea.
Yeah, you're like.
And then wishing for
That's my guy.
So you couldn't work.
I'm gonna buy this book.
So you couldn't work.
Buy this book.
Were you nervous on No Country?
How do you go from shitting in public to were you nervous?
Well, because
in No
I'm
Country?
reading about you shitting all day. Like you were like nervous about working. I know maybe it'd be sarcastic, but like. I mean, do you ever get nervous really on movies?
You don't shock me very much. You just shock me.
All right, we'll talk about it after.
You know what? You and I, like, you have a toilet that sprays that spray, the spray that I got in England, and I did this thing on Instagram where I got sprayed, and I was so happy about it. But I had actually experienced it here, like, so I was basically lying.
It's so good, isn't it?
But here was, I think, the first time, and fuck, it was good, man.
Yeah, I can get you one of these for Christmas. It's heated. It sprays your butt.
I would love to open a package at Christmas from you and just have it be one of those butt sprays.
So you never got nervous stomach on sets?
No, I never. Look, man. So when I was on the ranch, when my older kids, when my older kids.
Let's just get all shitty on here.
No, but this is the truth, dude. I just remembered this. I was with my older kids were younger. I was with the mother of my older kids, Debbie, and we were taking a hike, and we were going through a dry riverbed, and I had to take a shit, and I was eating a lot of garlic at the time. I was going through a garlic phase.
So good
like,
for you,
be
though.
healthy. It's so good for you. And
Your
I had the
farts
kids
too,
eat it. Horrible. But I had to take a shit all of a sudden. So I took a shit. She was like, yeah, just go over there. And I took a shit. And I grabbed whatever plant was nearby, and I wiped with it, and it turned out that it was poison oak.
Come on, dude.
So the next morning, I woke up in bed itching my asshole.
This is great, dude. I love this. This is the most hardest thing you've ever done, writing this book, most personal thing, putting your whole life out there, talking about your mom, and I'm talking about the diarrhea section of the book. I can relate to that, though. It's a whole new me of shitting myself.
Anyway, that's all I have to get back to you after you told me to shit in public. There you go.
I love the Goonies part about the first time you're going to see the ship and how they were so secretive about it.
Oh, yeah.
And how you guys all went underwater, you had to hold your breath and then jump up at the same time with like a real reaction to the ship.
Yeah. And
I think you said fuck, holy fuck, or something.
No, I said fuck.
Yeah, he said fuck.
Yeah.
And they were like, God, like it was a scene they've been waiting for this whole build up to see the ship, which is super amazing. And
that's the whole point, is that it was super amazing.
And it's a real reaction.
Yeah,
like,
and you're playing this innocent kid who's like, in the Goondocks. It's so stupid, but you're in the Goondocks, and it's like the movie's not stupid. I'm not saying the Goondocks, and it's called the Goon. It's so like childish and fun and adventurous and all that kind of stuff. And I come on, and I've been lucky enough. I've been through 300 auditions or 350 auditions. Everybody's telling me to find a different profession, that I'm too green, that I'm this and that. And then I get this role. I mean, it's just fucking came out of nowhere. And I get this role, and I audition, and I'm at the right place at the right time, and it's just it works. So, and then it's like none of them know I'm a CITO rat, man. I've been through all this stuff that's in this book. So that's you have the contrast of the Goonies, and then we all ended up in a hotel, and I'm like, what is this? We're not all on acid, we're not getting drunk, we're not in blackouts, we're not destructing,
it's really normal.
It's super normal.
You're the black sheep there for sure.
And you look at movies now and you go, normal people look at movies and they go, that's not normal. But for me, that was normal.
Yeah.
There was some kind of structure to it. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman was sweet. Sean Astin was sweet. Corey Feldman's different now. He's not sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's different. Look, I can tell you're not saying anything.
No, for sure.
You're like, oh yeah,
I just saw him perform a couple weeks ago.
Dude.
I went early to see him.
How was that?
Limp Bizkit. It was cool. The band sounded good. The backup singer sounded good. He had some jumbotrons with some cool videos. And you know what?
How was he dressed?
The dude was dressed how he dresses. You know the deal. And but you know what? That guy.
He's still in the Goonies.
Whatever world he's in, he's having fun. He believes in himself, and he doesn't give a shit what people say. He's going viral every second of the week for things that maybe he shouldn't be going viral for. Yeah. But he doesn't care. Like
You know what I love about you? You know what I love about you is that, like, where you could judge the shit out of somebody and the whole world is judging the shit out of, Corey Feldman and all that, is you turn it around and you go, you know what? The dude knows what he's doing. At least he's doing something.
He's an actor.
At least he's putting himself out there. For better or worse, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's not going to fucking matter. If he wins a Grammy or if he wins the Razzie Award for performing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Going out there, having a communal experience, having something to laugh at or listen to, it makes people smile. So fuck them.
And remember, he's an actor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure the last thing he acted in, but he's an actor. And so he knows how to...
The last thing he acted in was that performance that you saw on stage.
True.
Seriously.
But he's got good dance moves. But this is perfect. We're talking about you being where you're from and being the Goonies. But the CITO rats were misfit community, and that community relied on themselves. It's awesome, man. It's so cool. Yeah. But who came up with the name CITO rats? Where'd that come from?
Mike Herbert.
Okay.
I wasn't there. He was with Doug
So there's generations before you?
Have you ever heard of a skater named Doug DeMontmorency?
No.
He was a skater back in the day and became a professional skater. So it was him, it was Mike Herbert, Doug, and Kenny Jacobs, I think. And Mike Herbert said, we're the CITO rats.
And that's as it started it?
Yeah.
That's cool. And that's just where it started.
I don't know if it was cool, but it was like, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And we would hang out in the parking lot of the bottle shop. Bottle shop's still there like it was back in the day. It's probably the only thing in Santa Barbara, Lower Montecito, that's like it was. It's all bougie and whatever now. And, but the bottle shop is still like it was, and that's where we spent the majority of our childhood.
I'm reading parts of this book, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to tell you what it's from, just because these parts are just... He asked me to come in. She let him in. He dropped his pants and wanted to get it. She's telling me this, and she said, if you think I'd fuck someone who wears blue boxer shorts, you got to be out of your mind. My mom, our producer. And the next day, the producer called me into the office and told me that my mother is sick and that she may need help. I listened to him while he told me other things about her and that he was concerned for me. After he took a pause and let it all land like a bad actor in a bad movie, I said, because she wouldn't fuck you? And he asked me to leave his office as he started to shake. That's
CITO rats.
Yeah. So your mom came to visit you on the set.
That's true. That's a true story.
Set of the Goonies, correct?
Yeah. I brought her to Bodega Bay, where we did the last part of the movie with the ship. And I had kept her kind of away because she was who she was. And I knew she was going to create a thing. And she did. I mean, we were only in Bodega Bay for like a week or two. And nobody will ever forget it. But yeah, that guy tried to bone her, and then she called me that night. She's like, "Can you believe this guy?" She had this great voice, and she said, "This guy tried to get in my pants," and I was I'm not gonna fuck anybody with blue boxer shorts. You got to be crazy. It's funny, man. It's super funny in hindsight. When you're 17 years old. And your mom's calling you in the middle of the night to tell you she wouldn't let the producer fuck her because he had blue boxer shorts on.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, what the fuck are you doing?
Your mom, dude. How about the I Blame Josh t-shirt on the No Country set? Were you drinking and kind of partying during that time on the set or no?
Yeah, I was trying to keep it to weekends.
Yeah.
I would have little nips during the week. I remember having a little bottle of tequila in my kitchen, and take little nips. You've never had tequila, have you?
No, I've had no alcohol ever.
You've never had any alcohol. No. Have you ever had a beer?
No.
So it's
definitely shit in public, though.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's like you with a beer, you probably would have robbed banks or something. But you shit in public, but you don't fucking drink.
So I blame Josh. Brilliant. So you would kind of drink.
I Blame Josh was created by the ADs, by the assistant directors, and because I don't know, man, because I am my mother's son.
Yeah,
that's why. But it's not. I was my mother's son without an out. It was almost like I didn't have a choice. People talk about nature and nurture. I think nurture was winning at that point.
Yeah.
And I think what I've resorted to now is something that was intended a long time ago.
Yeah.
That I've allowed to flourish now. And whereas before I was just going by that moniker of I'm my mother's son, and I just left it at that. So things got a little crazy.
Yeah. This is the Goonies, 1985, January.
No.
This is going to make me emo reading this, dude, because this is your mom being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
Josh, I'm so proud of you. You experienced a lot in the past couple of years. Growing up is so tough, and you made it even tougher than it was presented. Growing up is tough, and you made it even tougher. But you've come out of it totally responsible and put together person. This tells me you really do love it all. Please try harder in school because you will always be able to use that knowledge. We are always learning every day. Let yourself give the good to yourself and always be good to those around you. I love you a lot and respect you tremendously. Thanks for showing me here. I had a lot of fun. Love you much, Mom.
Yeah,
that's fucking making me emo right now. It's super beautiful. And when I read this and knowing you've never stopped learning. You've never stopped pushing yourself. You never stopped getting more knowledge. All that stuff. You're learning stuff every day. You're teaching me things, dude. Even with your gratitude list. Like, this is a really beautiful letter, man. Obviously, you still have this letter, right?
Yeah, that's verbatim. I found that letter. And it's not like, you can do that in a book. Like, I could remember that I was given a letter and I could make it up, but that's verbatim.
Yeah, man. So this is her just by herself.
It's funny. I've never thought about what you just said, which made me emo.
I'm getting emo thinking about this.
It's the fact that I have. It was like I took that very seriously. And then once I was at a point in my life, not that I have never done it, but it just, the drinking and the drugs and all that kind of stuff and the mentality just got in the way. I felt like she felt. I felt like a clown. I felt like the only reason that was valid for me to be around was to be that clown. And until I was willing to let go of the clown and have my own innate personality come out, and then challenge myself in ways that were productive, that were dangerous, but that were productive.
Yeah.
Go do a play on Broadway, or go, instead of like, how much can you drink? And I wonder if I can start a riot and create arson.
Yeah.
Emotional arson.
You feel like you were acting out because you seeked attention?
Yeah, but I only sought attention in one way, and that's to create a story that I probably wouldn't even remember.
Yeah. That
made me a viable human being. At least that's how I perceived it.
Yeah. I mean, that letter is...
Yeah, it's profound because it's so simple. She was a simple lady, she read a lot. But I think she saw something in me at that point that wasn't the trajectory that she put me on. Yeah. And she wanted me to fight what she had created. She just didn't know. That was her way of saying it.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
So proud of you, though. She was so proud of you, man.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think still.
We're going to get super emo today, man. And then shit ourselves.
That's okay.
He only came on weekends or once every couple weeks. He'd get into his car late on a Friday night after he wrapped his work and take the 134 to the 101 to California. The 405.
That's it.
Which would bleed up until the 5 just past, what's that? Tejon Pass? Tejon Pass. And eventually down into much cooler Grapevine. He'd always tell me the story when he got home that he put the top down, turned the heat all the way up. That way the stars would be visible above him, and the methane scent of the cow shit would let him know that he was closer to home than to the rat race behind him. So I know exactly where that cow they call it Cowshewitz. They used to.
Cowshewitz, yeah. Yeah.
But
because you're a vegan.
Yeah. And also just reading this now, this is the Californians. It's crazy. I just thought about that.
I know, me too.
But this is your pops, dude. Your pops.
Yeah, it was. I remember he told me that story. Like all this stuff, and I'll preface this by saying, like, how much of this is true? It's all true. It's all based on truth. But is it? There's some stories in here that are fables. There's some stories in here that are based in truth, but they're covered up by it being a fable or whatever. Yeah. But I was going to say that I remember my pop. I was 20. I was doing Young Riders in Tucson, Arizona, and he had come to visit, and we were talking in the kitchen, and he told me that. And I remember it was like it was a real moment with him where I saw him kind of glaze over, and he was talking about how great it was to drive up the Grapevine, drive up the 5 and have the heater at full blast and the top down and seeing the stars above him and all that. And it was just a really nice kind of personal moment between a father and his son.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
2005, Fame Becomes Us. I love this here too. This is what famous people do. They apologize to famous people's agents or assistants, not to the famous people themselves, who are probably in bed sleeping or on an important call with someone about some asshole who insulted them the night before. Dude,
That was me.
I love that. And also your conversation with De Niro. You're sitting with Sean Penn and De Niro in the lobby.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an interesting face.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to her. He's talking. He's
you
talking
got the face of an actor.
He's talking to Sean Penn. He's like, "What's wrong with this dude?"
That's wrong.
That's such a crazy. And the way you talk and the way I read it is just the way De Niro's like, "What the fuck is this guy?" You hear his voice.
What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing?
But you hear his voice.
I know. Well, it's good. It's good. If you can hear it, then I've done my job as a writer. You know what I mean? If it connotes some kind of, if it conjures some kind of like visual story in your head, that's great.
There was New Orleans, that time when I ran naked after a younger, more inspiring actress into the French Quarter and hit my head so hard, tripping after her, that it split the flesh down to the skull while she yelled at me to get my ass back inside. But I don't remember that time too well. Damn, I do love New Orleans and the love affair I had with her. That's amazing.
So what I love...
I pictured you in this. I pictured you running naked through this shit, dude.
Yeah, that happened. But what I like about that excerpt that you just read is the affair that I had with New Orleans or with the girl.
Yeah.
And I like the elusiveness of that.
Yeah.
Because I did have an affair with New Orleans.
Yes.
And it ate me up and spit me out. It chewed me up and spit me out.
2007. Why are your eyebrows bluish?
You're reading all the funny part. I mean, you thought they're not all funny, but yeah, this is funny.
I know. Just why your eye. So basically, this is a conversation with Oliver Stone.
I don't know. It never says Stone. It
yeah.
doesn't say Stone anywhere.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think it's just a guy named Oliver.
Okay, respect. So people can
Who happens to be a director.
People can Google somebody named Oliver and look for his eyebrows.
Exactly.
That's a funny one. Yeah, some of the serious stuff is like I don't know if it's hard to talk some of the stuff because you're my boy, and it's like
No, you don't have to talk about the serious stuff. I mean, that's the whole point, man. Yeah. It's a lot. Look, the point to me of the book, let me just say this is when I was younger, I remember I used to go in the bookstore. I've always loved bookstores. I've always loved books. I've always once I read Ray Bradbury when I was like 11 or 10 or 9 or 8. I don't remember how old I was. But it exploded my brain, and it made me realize that there are all these other worlds that I could dive into through literature. And then I got turned on to all these, Russian, literature and writers and French writers and all this kind of stuff. But when you would go into the bookstore, the self-help section used to be about as big as the poetry section. It was like a foot wide and 6 feet high.
Yeah.
And now the self-help section is like 75% of the bookstore. And it's all
crazy,
about like
man.
You have a problem and then here's the solution and then just live in the solution. And that's why so many books are bought, because they're like, it doesn't work, so they buy another one. It doesn't work and they buy another one. It doesn't work, they buy another one.
Good point.
Because the truth of the matter is it's a much messier process than that.
Yeah.
And to me, not that I've arrived, because I haven't, because I don't think there's such a thing, that this book represents a very, very messy life and a very destructive kid. Who may have learned all the wrong things from the wrong people and didn't know how to kind of find his way out of it. And a lot of those friends that I grew up with are dead. And this is a guy who didn't die for some reason. I don't know. And then he found himself into, being in a kitchen with his best bud and talking about this book that he wrote. Yeah. It's like, that's a success in itself, regardless of how the book does. It doesn't matter. But there's successes in your life, and then there's defaults back to what's comfortable but more destructive, and then you're finding your way through that labyrinth constantly, and you go, that's what constitutes a life.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I agree.
And more the lesson is, I don't want to hurt anybody and I don't want to hurt myself.
Yeah.
How can I grow in that way? And I think that book represents that.
100%. And it's funny you just said that. You're like, I really don't want to go back to Santa Barbara anymore. The CITO rat scene is still going strong, but people are starting to die. Every time I go up there, I either go to jail, I roll a car, or get into a fight. I have no friends down there, though. I'm alone unless I'm drinking.
I have no friends down where I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So you're lonely and you want to go back there because it's who you know, it's what you know. And even though it's destructive, at least it's familiar.
Yeah.
And that lasted for years. Yeah. Where it was like, I couldn't not go back. And then I would touch it for a second and then I'd leave. But I always, from their point of view, from the CITO Rat's point of view, they were like, why don't you just stay, dude? Just be this. And I would go, because I have too many interests. I always had my toe in some other jar, some other possibility. It was like, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that. And I don't know why, but that's just how my life is. It still's like that.
Yeah.
I can't be one thing.
Yeah.
I have no interest in being one thing. So I can go to an AA meeting and then I can also go on a chopper run where everybody's drunk and have a really good time. I don't have to drink.
Are there that many sober people and the people you ride bikes with?
One.
Really?
One.
Wow.
One dude that I can think of right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This one's heavy to read because I might get emotional, but this is February 12th, 1995. It's just about your mom and her passing, man. It's just, I can't read it, I guess, but this was a really hard read for me, man. You want to read it?
You want here? I'll read a little bit of it.
Yeah, I like to hear your voice read this.
Where do you want?
She's
what do you
barely
want me to
breathing
read?
Right there.
She was barely. I'll try to do it as unemotionally as I can.
I can't look at you then.
She was barely breathing, but she was breathing still. Nobody ever thought Jane would die, least of all us. She was armored with a character so unique and memorable that to die would be an insult to her mythology. She'd be leaving behind an easy breeze, a cloudless sky, no music on the radio. She was the zap in every electrical current we had felt. She was the alcohol in a mixed drink. She was the wildness in a sunset just after a horrible storm had passed.
I can't wait for your audiobook. I know it was a pain in the ass, but
it wasn't awesome. Yes.
But just hearing you read that, it's like, wow. That's a heavy. Yeah.
It's heavy, but that's all. I mean, you try to represent what was.
Yeah.
Without any filter. I don't need to sound a certain way. That was one of the great things about writing this book. Is a writer who is trying to colorize all his stories and all his sentences. What the great learning curve during writing this book was to shave everything down and to be as clear and to be as clear and succinct as possible in order to allow the emotion to be what it is, instead of trying to tell people how to feel.
This could be very therapeutic for you, man.
I don't, maybe. I would think so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't know. This girl named Yrsa Daley Ward inspired me, and she came out with this memoir called The Terrible, and she wrote it very poetically. And I got to direct that girl. She's an actress too, and I got to direct her during Outer Range, which is a canceled TV series.
Yes, we heard about
canceled
that.
on Amazon
For no reason.
For no apparent reason, but I mean, just like do another show.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they're doing a new show about Justin Bieber.
Are they?
No, I don't know. So Yrsa Daley Ward was a really naked, raw, emotional memoir that I was very inspired by. And I think it's one of the major things that made me go, just write. And she writes so well that it was scary, but I just said, just fucking start writing. Just like, dude, because I'd written books before and I'd put them in a dark corner. I would never even think about publishing them.
You have tons of journals.
88 or something, wow, 89. Man. Journals from when I was younger throughout,
So some of the journals are in this book, but also all new writing as well, correct?
Everything was fixed,
okay.
I should say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're all based on, they're not all based on journal writing. So half of that stuff is new writing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Some of that stuff is just looking back on, like the thing about my mom. That was just looking back. That wasn't a journal writing per se.
I didn't know you
Maybe it was based on a journal writing.
I didn't know you raced cars too.
Yeah.
What kind of cars?
My dad and I was set up to race for Paul Gentilossi at Rocket Sports, and that never happened, but it was the Trans Am series that followed the Indy circuit. And I wasn't working a lot. And then I was driving for him a little bit, doing like testing.
Yeah.
And then No Country happened. And then he didn't, his words is, I don't want to kill the guy that did No Country.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've always liked it because I raced motorcycles when I was a kid, or raced motocross, and I still like it. I still like driving. I still like going. My daughter was very good at it, Eden. Like, I had her go through the Skip Barber thing when she was 16, and
wow.
And just because I think you can get out of a lot of shit that I was so worried about my kids getting into a car accident that I wanted them to go to driving school and experience what it's like to really push it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is 1976. And I love this one because you're with your dad. It's a father-son moment, but your heart's really not in it to do it, but you do it. But we hunted yesterday. He handed me a 20 gauge shotgun and told me that we were going to shoot a dove. I'm good with a gun. I've always been. I'm steady with violence, but violence doesn't suit me. I envision the consequence of it acutely. A grandmother squirrel calling for her favorite babe after it's taken one in the head. A panicked fox tearfully combing the ranch as she tries to locate her now dead offspring. A doe praying for her Bambi. The thoughts haunt me.
Mm-hmm.
This is heavy, man. How old are you here? Super young, man.
I don't know, pretty young.
And you're so nervous, but also your love of animals, and you obviously with your nature with your pops, and like you're having this moment, but you do it, right?
You do it because you're a kid.
Yeah.
And you follow your and I don't think he was bad.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to create something,
a memory, these moments.
A memory.
Totally.
Between a father and a son.
Totally.
And that's the thing. Is it an affectation, or is it organic, or are you really looking at your kid for what your kid is?
Yeah.
There's a, yeah. It's interesting because they're well, I won't tell that story. But yeah, it was a moment that stuck out differently in my head, and it didn't have the impact that I think was intended.
Yeah.
But I understood it. I understand it looking back, and I'm like, yeah, I understand why he did that. It just affected me in a way that made me more sensitive to that kind of thing, as opposed to, wow, I just did this amazing thing with my pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That wasn't his fault. That was just my sensitivities that he probably didn't even know about.
Absolutely.
And I always had that thing. I even shot squirrels on our ranch when I was older, because the ground squirrels tear up the ranch, right?
Yeah.
And they have these like underground labyrinths, these subterranean labyrinths. And
squirrels are crazy.
And then, so I would shoot a squirrel, and then I would be fucking depressed for 3 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not something that I wanted.
Yeah.
But it would happen. So why do I have that?
Yeah.
And then you play into that too, where you're like, you're going to eat that meat?
You can eat it all.
You can eat it all.
Oh, this story.
Which I appreciate about you, by the way.
Thank you. You hanging out with Travolta and Marlon Brando, this photo, this moment, pretty awesome, man. Because I know you're a big fan of Marlon Brando for sure.
Major. And Travolta.
Yeah. Travolta too.
Yeah.
Also, the James Dean, how he also died from a car accident. I had no idea about that.
Right up the street.
On the outskirts. Yeah, the same where your mom passed. And the same morgue as well.
Same morgue.
That's crazy. I did not know that about James Dean, man.
Yeah, man. He died in 1955.
He did?
Yeah, what was it? September 30th? I think I still remember that because I had such an obsession about him when I was just starting out acting. But I think it was September 30th, 1955 at 6-something p.m. he got in that accident.
Wow.
I think. And he ended up in the same morgue in Paso Robles as my mother ended up.
Pretty
Same type of
pretty
accident.
Crazy, man. Yeah.
It is.
This is 1981.
He was 24 years old, though, man.
Wow.
He hadn't even finished Giant. And I think they had a couple more scenes, and they had to re-edit because he hadn't even...
Did not know that, man.
And if you look at that performance in Giant, James Dean, where he there's a trajectory of age, and he plays like an old man, an old drunk, it's genius. I mean, it's literally nothing short of genius.
He did a lot in a short period of time, huh?
He didn't do a lot. some.
His impact is crazy.
His impact was insane.
Yeah.
But really, he didn't know he had done more films, and he had done like a Coke commercial or Pepsi commercial or something like that. But he did East of Eden, so Steinbeck, who I obviously have a thing, and he's from Salinas Valley, which is close to Paso Robles. He did Rebel Without a Cause.
Yep.
And then he did Giant, and that was it.
Crazy.
And having the impact that he had. Yeah. Nuts.
Your first tattoo was JB.
Yeah. On my right shoulder, which we're taking off right now with Removery.
Well, was there something
Hi,
over?
I'm Josh Brolin.
You put something over it though, right?
I did. I put this is it all, like it's all a journal, right?
Yeah.
Like you call it so JB, and then I started competing in martial arts, so I put a Korean inscription, and then I was riding Harleys, so I put a Harley Davidson like moniker over it, and then I put like or maybe I put the lion head first, and then I put the Harley Davidson when I was 19.
19?
Yeah.
People always got their initials. I got my initials on me too.
I know, it's so stupid.
It's so weird we did that, right?
It's like if you forget in a blackout.
This one right here. This is another intense one. You're with your kids and you see the hurt animal and you want to save the animal, but it's dying, right? And you tell the kids to turn their heads.
Oh, the sheep.
Yeah, the sheep, dude.
I wrote that. I had never written that down because I couldn't.
Dude.
Because it would haunt me and it haunted my kids. I asked my kids if it was okay if I wrote about that.
Turn your heads, they did. I could break its neck. I thought to myself, one startling snap and it would be out of its misery and pain. What if I waited? Would it be better? Where is everyone? I avoided as long as I could. The sun was getting lower in the sky, and all I knew was that I was going to have to kill an innocent animal. I grabbed its muzzle with my left hand and then brought my right hand over this left side of his head, leveraging my left. I'm going to pull as hard as I can and fast as I can, and I can pull it, and it will go out like a light. 1, 2, turn your heads, cover your ears, and they did. 1, 2, 3, and I pulled as every organ in my body fell into this hell of my own making. What's that noise? Bah! That's the sound it's making, right? The screaming. The sheep kept screaming. Its back legs were sprayed out, and it just screamed and kept reaching forward away from me. It knew. I was here to murder it. There was no sign of physical trauma, none. Can we look? My son yelled over his shoulder. Not yet. It's crazy, man. That's some crazy, like badass superhero dad moment.
Yeah.
You know?
It's horrible, but it's reality.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because a lot of the through line of a lot of the stuff that you're reading, which makes sense to me because you're the person that I know you to be, is about animals.
Oh, yeah. That is weird.
You know what I mean?
I didn't even freaking think about that.
Yeah. But I like it because every person is going to get something different. There's a very maternal, like not a maternal, but a mother through line to this whole thing.
It hit me, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
And that's what hit you. And that's the whole point of the whole book is like, there's a part of me that doesn't want to release this book. There's a part of me that even when I was doing the Audible, I was like, why the fuck did I write this book? What am I, stupid? Because it is so raw and it does feel naked and it does feel, and I don't want to write a book that's like covered up with a bunch of celebrity bullshit that's all about like, hey, look this is where I come from. I always knew I wanted to be an actor, and then I struggled a little bit, and then I met really famous people, and I love the way that feels.
You're not even naming people like, in here. Yeah. No,
absolutely. Because that's not the point. The point is humans are humans are humans.
Yeah.
And
this really humanizes you for sure.
When you don't feel alone in that humanness, then we can start to lean on each other and we can start to identify with each other and we can start feeling like that we're not isolated. You know what I mean? Especially in this day and age of social media and all that, people feel so fucking alone.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And suicide rates are way up and all that. And that's not why I wrote the book, but I wanted to do it in a way that it was like, don't cover it up with a film of self-importance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is real shit. I mean, yeah, but the fact you talking about it is amazing though too, because most, you know what I mean? People try to like, that's another thing about you. Like you're so transparent. You're so yourself. You have nothing to hide. You're not worried about getting canceled. You're always been 100% you. Everybody knows your story or what they think they know your story. This is a lot of your story in this book, but you've never tried to hide or act a certain way to be accepted or be part of Hollywood or fit in. Well, you're a grown-ass man. Who cares about that? But you've always stayed yourself, which is really fucking, it's inspiring, dude.
Thanks, dude.
It's like you're just a fucking real cat who fucking comes.
I just don't want to contract.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's a prose poem in there that says, wilt, the two words next to it says wilt or blossom. And that's the thing is I want to blossom. I don't want to wilt.
Yeah.
And if you wilt if you don't find ways to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And if you cover it up with some idea, it's like, oh, the more people applaud, like that applause, then the better I'm going to be. And you go, why? It's a fleeting thing. What's the thing that lasts?
Mm-hmm.
What's the thing that touches your heart? What's the thing that touches your soul? And I don't, it sounds lame. I even feel lame talking about it. This touches your heart.
No, man.
And touches your soul. And you're like, what the fuck are you? Who have you become? But the truth of the matter is I try to embrace, whether it's a cliche or not, is I try to embrace it because at the end of the day, are you okay with being who you were?
Yeah. And you can go to bed at night knowing that you're yourself.
Yeah. And then the ultimate goal is to be on your deathbed and to look back and just kind of like go, that was cool. That's the ultimate goal is that I look back and I go like, I made some better decisions than what I was set up to make.
Yeah.
And what a fucking great life, man.
Yeah. You have an amazing life. It's funny because we both talk about, I've been in the band 30 years, you've been acting longer than that. And just when we're in different worlds, but connected to the same world, just like how long we've been doing it for, how the insecurities.
Totally.
Being emotional people, having, people that like your music or like your movies, or like your art, or like your books, your writing, your lyrics.
Yeah.
And just, appreciating all that and also balancing family, a home structure, traveling, being 100% authentic, being yourself.
That's where you and I come together.
Yeah. It's just like.
That's our friendship right there. You just literally described our friendship, the reason for our friendship.
And not trying and just, this is who we are 120%. Love us or hate us, this is us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so important. I read this. I already mentioned this a second ago, but it's funny. 2008.
Fuck yeah.
Your face. Bob looked at me with a look like we've all seen in a million movies he's done. And I could see Sean roll his eyes and mumble, "Shut the fuck up, dude." I continue focusing on Bob
really well
like a great discovery. Your face. You have a face. Did anybody ever tell you have a face? My face? This is him talking to Robert De Niro. It's so fucking good, man. Were you intimidated? Oh, you were drunk at that moment, I think. Were you intimidated by Bobby De Niro or no?
Later, maybe.
Were you ever intimidated by actors?
No.
Yeah, but maybe.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I had a moment with Denzel Washington.
Ooh, amazing.
But he was. I think he was in character. So I thought I was going to scrap with Denzel, but I think it was a character thing. And then when I saw Denzel months or maybe even a year later at some function, and he was so sweet to me. He saw me and he was like, "Hey, how are you?" And give me a big hug and all that. And I was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, he's a guy who I look way, way, way up to. So when I got to work with him, that was major for me. That was major. So I was a little nervous in front of him. There's not very many, though.
Yeah, that you get intimidated by or like starstruck by.
I think writers. I get intimidated by writers, I met Ray Bradbury when I was younger, and that was a major thing. I met a lot of artists.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're a big art collector. You have a great art collection. It's beautiful.
Thanks, man.
Oh
Yo,
my God.
man, what's up?
I'm pausing. We're back. We're back from a short interruption from Mr. Max Morse, who came into the house, and I don't allow him anymore to interrupt my podcast. We have to give Joey Feldman a shout out. It's artist Joey Feldman who did the artwork and amazing cover of this book.
Yes.
Which are going to be prints soon, which will be really smart.
And Joey, who ironically has a gallery right across the alleyway from you.
Yeah, right up my back window, my kitchen. It's crazy.
Literally, I parked in his parking lot and then walked over here.
But
Joey I've known for a long time, and Joey's a sober guy, and Joey and I used to do H&I hospitals and institutions where we'd go speak in jails and institutions.
That's incredible,
and all that.
man.
And that's where we got to know each other. And he's an incredible artist, and there's a connection with Ralph Steadman, and who used to do all the art for Hunter S. Thompson.
That's
and then
awesome.
Joey started doing the art for Catherine, making shirts and all that kind of stuff for Midheaven. And then he started.
And that's the one you won SNL, I think.
Yeah, Joey did that.
Dude, it's such a crazy world. And the sober world is such its own world, too. It's so connected.
It's
like
its
a
own
big
world,
family.
and people are like, they're not as selfish. Are you all right?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened to your microphone?
Just fell apart for a second.
Yeah, man. It's just like we're all helping each other out. We're all celebrating each other's wins. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to this book, man.
Yeah.
It's like Florida. This is cool because you're comparing Santa Barbara, I think, right, to Lower East Side?
I will never leave here. This depth in the sewer of what will always have original stamped on its back alley asshole. And where there will always be, for just $1.25, an oily slice of pepperoni and a medium Coke waiting for you. And as you eat it, some stray will ask you if you have a can of spray paint because he just got an idea, and I'll know I'm home. That all of the other shit is just some Nobu Fantasyland smut with a thin slice of jalapeno on its sushi and a roofie waiting patiently in some yuppie's non-alcoholic beer.
Dude, that is so powerful, man. That's so powerful.
Again, it's about the Venice Beach when I was 16, 17 years old, living on Pacific and Windward and going out and like panhandling for a cup of coffee. And there was something, it's not like it is now, where the boardwalk is still the boardwalk, but there's a little insanity now.
Yeah.
There's like random insanity now, where back then you knew everybody. You knew the rich people, you knew the homeless people, everybody knew each other. And there was some like form of family or community in it that you could actually trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though it was fucking bizarre. It was weird. It was bizarre. It didn't have a typical kind of status quo ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it was eclectic, and it was fun, and it was electric. It's almost like reliving this idea of my mother over and over and over.
Yeah.
Because she was such a powerful force.
Such a powerful force in your life.
That I just kept recreating it, or I kept recreating some version of that, like with the CITO rats.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, it got less negative and more positive.
Yeah. We talked about this too the other day, a little bit about your dad in the book and how it came off to me. And I obviously I met your dad a couple of times, and knowing your history with him, and then also knowing how you are as a father and how you really, really make it a point to have your family with you as much as possible. Like you said, you're filming movies, you're traveling, and to have that family balance, because obviously your dad was a part of your life and your mom was as well. And then they got divorced, and then you spent time with both of them and had these different kinds of memories. But the fact that you are really focused on being there for your kids is beautiful. And I think that's because how you grew up, obviously. It wasn't like your dad didn't love you, but he was always working and busy, and you were going back and forth with your mom and him. And I love that you're like that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's why you're like that. It's
yeah,
so
and I wouldn't, the book, like How I Feel, is not meant to be, me victimizing myself. Like, poor me. There's no self-pity in it, and I don't feel self-pity. It's the fact that I think, at least in with my parents, but I think it was the era too. It was the 80s and all that kind of stuff. And people like, the man does this and he goes to work and he doesn't really focus on the kids. And you kind of like, you see the kids, but you don't really hear the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter what they say. They're kids. And like, I remember my dad, my poor dad, my dad's super sweet, man.
Yeah.
And he went on this thing, he was promoting something, and he went on The View, with all the girls.
Oh, yeah.
And I had posted a naked picture of myself, and unbeknownst to him. And then they started talking to him about his work or whatever. And then they said, oh, and by the way, how do you feel about this? And this huge naked picture of me shows up behind him. And he looks behind him, and he I'm sure he's shocked. He doesn't know what the fuck to say. They railroaded him, and he said what he resorted to, which makes sense to me. He goes, well, kids, or like, kids, and all this kind of stuff. And he sounded like the dad of a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And I think that's just an era thing of like, I don't really know what to say.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say that.
And I get it, because like when my mother got together with my dad, they were married 12 days after they met. And I know that was instigated by my mother. My mother just said, like, what are we doing? And he's like, well, what do you mean? And she's like, are we getting married or what? And he's like, yeah, I guess. So my mother just made shit happen.
Yeah.
So when you have such extremes on such opposite ends of the spectrum, you have my dad who's like, I don't really know what the fuck is going on here. And you have my mom who's like, let's make it, like, let's just do it. We'll worry about the consequences later. Let's just fucking jump.
He was probably intimidated by her for sure.
I'm sure.
I wish I got
Everybody
to meet her.
was,
Yeah.
dude.
It sounds like it. She's just legendary.
It wasn't just, you've met a lot of ladies or women with strong personalities. It wasn't just that.
Yeah.
She was truly a human force of nature.
Yeah. I wish I met her, man. She's just...
Me too.
It's great,
actually.
like knowing you for this many years now, and then hearing about your mom, the different anniversaries of your mom passing and her birthdays and stuff like that. But then reading this book and realizing she's been with you throughout your whole entire life, even since she's been gone.
Yeah.
She's still like a big part of your life. She's watching.
It's 30 years this year.
I know, man.
And it's wild that it's 30 years and this book's coming out.
That was not planned.
No, not at all.
Do you feel like she's watching over you in a sense? Do you
I do, man. Stuff? I don't. In a sense, like I think it's, it's like, what happens to us? Do we go to heaven? Do we this? Do we that? Or is it just energy that kind of gets dispersed back into the universe, kind of thing? So I think there's it's not a consciousness, but I think that there's energy out there. I think her energy is still out there. Put it that way.
Are you a religious person?
Religious, I wouldn't say, but it's funny because our youngest is named Chapel.
Yeah.
And I love chapels. I love cathedrals. I love the idea of religion.
Also, God's kind of part of sobriety in a sense. Sort of.
But it's a God of your understanding.
Yeah. So
I like the idea of that, is like, this God that lives inside me, that wants me. I love the idea that if there's a God, that God would want me to be the best version of myself. And that's my responsibility, to have been given the gift of life.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that early on. And I get that now. And whether that's bullshit or not, it's absolutely meaningless to me, because I like trying to live up to that.
Yeah, I love that.
We've been given the gift of like being able to fucking talk, you and me. We're in this kitchen that's pink. There's a dog, hasn't farted yet.
That's a good sign.
And it's all good. It's all good. Like, why do we get to be here? We're here for on the average 80 years, and then we're not.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
I really appreciate your gratitude list you send out to your friends. I think it kind of inspired me to start reading, to be honest. Obviously, you book that, but like I read it every single morning, and also The Stoic. Thank you for that book as well.
Of course.
Read those pages
Ryan
every
Holiday.
day. On the toilet, on my heated toilet, I read those every morning, each day. No, but
as you're getting sprayed.
No, but I love it. Not as much as I love seeing Challengers with you, but that's another story.
Dude, how great was that? We went to go see Challengers together, you and me. And it was because of me, by the way.
Yeah, you really wanted to see it.
I was like, God, I really want to see this movie.
Yeah.
And then I ended up working with that guy and Zendaya, who I'd done Dune with. I was like, let's go see this movie. It's going to be fucking great. And then the dude, there's some shit that happens. And then you got all tweaky. You were like, you kept looking at me.
Because it was just me and you kind of in the theater. It's like nobody in this freaking theater, bro. It's like sitting up front. It was just awkward. I'll never forget seeing this movie with you, man. It was just these uncomfortable moments.
And we could have left and we didn't leave, because every time I felt like you wanted to leave, like I'd look over at you and I'd be like, it's pretty great, isn't it? You're like, yeah, whatever.
It was just uncomfortable moments where I wanted to like scream into the screen and say, did this happen?
You did.
Just kiss or just do something.
You did say that. You weren't quiet about it. You were like, what the fuck?
Like when I saw
Why are they doing what?
Also, coming to see Poor Things at your house. That was awesome. Seeing that for the first time.
Yeah, you didn't
That
understand Poor Things.
I watched it again after that.
No, I know you did.
Appreciated it. It was that was.
I love
you
that movie.
love that movie, dude.
I love that movie, dude.
And you don't really get hyped on a lot of movies.
I don't get hyped on a
don't.
lot of movies, and I don't get hyped on a lot of TV right now.
Yeah.
And when something really good, when something resonates for me or with me, I get super excited about it. So Poor Things to me, Emma.
Incredible.
Fuck, dude. She's
Willem Dafoe. Oh man.
They're just some of the most incredible, because it gets into this absurd land, and I love that because I see it all as pretty absurd. So
yeah, it was really good.
It was really.
You didn't like Naked Attraction when I sent you that?
The what?
Naked Attraction.
That fucking show, dude. That was great. Like you were on your 200th episode, which I still don't understand. But then the thing comes up, they're covered up, they talk to the person, and they're like, okay, we're going to show you the knees. And you're like, or the face. Is it the face? Is it from the top down?
No, it's bottom up first,
It's from bottom up. So the knees. And then this is their genitals. What do you think? And this is their chest. And this is finally the last thing you care about is their face.
It's really fucked up.
It's super fucked up.
It's just judging somebody on their looks. And the people that do it have the biggest balls, no pun intended. Some do, some don't. Just to go on that show, dude. That shit is so... that shit would never fly in America, man.
Or you see
People
this little
too
pinky.
vain.
You're like, you see this guy, and you're like, oh, this guy's got strong legs.
Yeah.
And he's got a little pinky for a dick.
Dude. It would never fly in America. It's people who are too vain. It would never fly.
Or a dick so big that the girl goes, no way. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Or like, too
really?
hairy.
Okay.
Or too
hairy.
uncircumcised.
Oh, dude. Whatever.
Did you like Christspiracy? I remember saying that too.
I did. I liked that. I liked it a lot.
I'm glad you watched that.
I like anything that has to do with questioning something.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything. The thing with religion that I don't like is that you don't question that. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And you go, or politics. Oh, you're going to get insulted because I'm questioning how you're governing the country.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that our right? Isn't
totally
that
our right?
It's our right.
But I love
it's our
I
responsibility.
love that we don't talk about politics that much, or we get too political in conversations, which is fine. But I like that you're really open-minded about vegan food, because I've taken you to so many spots. I brought you all kinds of vegan stuff. I love that you're open-minded about it. You know what I mean?
If it tasted like shit, I probably wouldn't like it, but it tastes really good. There's a place right down the street from here, Green Table.
Yeah.
That's super good.
Yeah.
Super good
and
desserts.
You look forward to
too.
it. Like you like
I
it.
do. I can't wait to go there today.
I also like that I sent you the Andre 3000 record, and you actually liked it.
I liked it,
But
and then you
actually-
just asked me to go to the concert, and you said, hey, do you want to go to this concert with me? I said, no.
I know I might fall asleep. No dish. I love the Andre 3000. I know I might fall asleep. I heard it's really...
I don't dislike it. I just don't want to go to the concert. You go to
It's
9
not gonna be-
concerts every day. So it's like, no.
It's not going to be a concert, though. It's going to be him with his flute.
Doesn't matter.
So you're going to be... No, I'm saying it's going to be hard to stay awake. I heard it's you're going to be on some edibles or on something to be in there.
I don't eat edibles.
I know you don't.
So therefore, I'm not going.
So you got this weapons movie coming out, too. It's directed from Barbarian, correct?
Yep.
You shot that in Georgia.
I shot that in Atlanta, Georgia. Zach
Well,
Kreger.
You're not
is
going to
the
be a monster
director.
with a big weenie, right? You know, like how the original one
Don't know.
was lady with the scary boobies.
You don't know. I might be.
That'd be so sick if you were
I actually think the guy is a really, really good writer and really good director and really interesting. And Barbarian, when I saw Barbarian, I called around. I don't know why I did this. I called my daughter first, and I said, "You see Barbarian?" She was like, "Fuck, that movie's so good." And then I started calling other 20 and 30 somethings, and it's definitely part of the zeitgeist.
It is.
It's something that I have never done before. A movie like that. I love doing it with him. I think he's a super creative guy.
I think it's really cool that you're doing a kind of a horror movie. I think it's really awesome.
It's fun.
And you got
I used to love horror movies when I was a kid. I watched Maniac. I watched Friday the 13th and all that
Classic.
kind of stuff. So I think it was just me finally getting to the point going, what do I do next? And I was like, why don't I do something that used to resonate for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's coming. You got Knives Out. You got Brothers coming out.
Knives Out was a coup, man. I was super stoked about that movie. Ryan
cast.
Johnson, who's just an absolute incredible writer, amazing cast and all that. And then Brothers with Dinklage and Glenn Close.
That looks really cool, man.
Brendan Fraser.
That's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be fun.
And Marissa Tomei's in there, too.
Marissa Tomei killed it.
Dude, she's such a great actress.
She's such
she
a
doesn't get
good
enough
actress.
props, man. Nobody talks about her as much, man.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I think she's just low pro.
She shows up. Remember when she did the Wrestler with Mickey Rourke?
Yeah, dude.
Remember how good she was, man?
Dude.
She's always been good. I've known her for a long time, and she's always been great.
That was so good.
Yeah, it was good.
Back to your art collection. You got a really nice piece from the Morses last year. Did that make it? Does that make it to your new house?
You did. You got me. Now, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm not going to because I don't want to insult anybody.
No.
But it was a really sweet piece.
Moon was so psyched to give it.
She was so psyched to give it to me.
It's
in storage now, but it's not. Everything's in storage now because we're moving. But that'll go up in my office for sure.
This Goonies 2 that's circulating, is this a possibility you might be in there or not? Everybody's asking me. People ask me shit about you every day. Like, do you know if it's going to be? I go, I don't know, dude. I can't answer that.
Like, why does anybody want a Goonies 2? I know. Why? Like, what isn't the first one good enough?
It's perfect. It's a classic.
But that's what I mean. That's what you always want more. It's like,
that's what people want more. Always.
I got it. I made $30,000 this year, but if I just make 50, it'll be better. Well, I made 50 this year. It's always the more thing.
Yeah.
And I remember Jerry Seinfeld talking about that. He was like, in the 70s, nobody ever talked about money. They all talk about money now.
Yeah.
He said, well, we'd be backstage at the comedy club and we'd all be talking about our acts or what we're going to try and what we're going to this. It was never taught, like we were surviving, and that's all that meant anything.
Yeah.
We weren't talking about how much worth we had.
Yeah.
We didn't base our worth on the money.
No, it's true. Everything's status and just all that stuff now.
I hate all that shit.
I know you do. Is there a movie that you never get sick of watching?
Ooh, that's a good question. Get Shorty.
Really?
I fucking love
That's
Get
Travolta
Shorty.
and
yeah.
Wow, bro. That's
Barry Sonnenfeld.
Dude, I'd never heard you talk about that.
Dennis Farina.
Okay.
Fucking so good.
So you can still watch that.
Yeah, I could watch that over and over and over. Paris, Texas.
Okay.
I could watch over and over and over for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
What else?
Probably like Taxi Driver, something like that for you, or like a Marlon Brando.
Love Taxi Driver. Love Streetcar more than On the Waterfront. Love East of Eden.
Ooh.
Love Giant. Love what else? Wait, what? Oh, The Warriors.
Really amazing.
I've seen The Warriors 66 times.
Damn, you have that number too. Wow. You probably saw it in the theaters too, maybe back
One
then?
time.
Wow.
In Austin, Texas. I saw it on VHS 65 times, and I saw it in the theater one time.
That's so good.
Grease, I've seen a lot. Saturday Night Fever, I've seen a lot. But Warriors, I've seen more than anything.
So big Travolta fan.
I guess.
Yeah, we love the movies he's in.
Yeah, big Travolta fan.
And you're a big motorcycle guy too, motorcycle collector. You've been doing that for a long time, huh?
I don't know if I'm a collector. I think Momoa is a collector.
Okay.
Momoa has like 100 bikes.
Well, having more than one to
I have
me is a
4.
collection. Okay,
Yeah.
4. Okay.
I
Old
have
school ones, yeah.
Old school. I have a 37 knucklehead. I have a 56 pan head. I have a 68 shovel head, and I have a 47 knucklehead.
Yeah, you learn. I was there that day. You were working on the bikes, trying to teach me the ways of a motorcycle. I never been on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I don't
before.
know how much I can teach you. I have guys in my crew that help me because I don't know shit. I wish I knew more. Somebody just tried to justify it for me. They're like, "Hey, man, you got other shit going on in your life," and I'm like, "Yeah." And they go, "I wish I knew more about the bike. I wish I could fix my own bike, but I can't."
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Where else would you live besides California?
Italy.
Someday retirement.
Yeah, man. I rented a house in Lake Bolsena once, and I had a bunch of people come and visit. I met Griffin Dunn there, who's going to moderate our the launch of the book at 92nd Street Y.
Awesome.
And which I'm stoked about, and I'm really happy that he's doing it, and I really liked his book a lot. But I met him then. There's something about Italy. There's something about the Italians. That here, if you use your hands and you gesture a lot, people get scared.
Yeah.
And like that, not so much in New York, but then you go in Italy and everybody's like that.
Yeah.
I remember there was one lady, we had this house, and then we'd go down this alleyway, and there was a lady, she's probably in her 60s, and she was standing in front of a meat and cheese shop. And she was getting people to go in and buy shit in the meat and cheese shop. And she had a mustache. She had a full mustache.
Hard.
And I looked at this lady, and she used to flirt with me when I walked by.
Wow.
And I was like, fuck yeah. Like you have a fucking mustache, and you still have Italian confidence. And I would kind of flirt back. And then finally I felt obliged to go in there and buy meat and cheese. And that's what I got. That's what she hustled me. And that was cool.
Yeah.
She didn't give a fuck she had a mustache or not. Fuck it.
So
I am who I am. I'm going to flirt with you anyway. I love it.
Italy's nice though. I love like there's like a siesta time at the end of the day where people like shut the restaurants down. People like
man.
go with their families or hang with their kids and eat good. Like
I think they got they got what is it called? I can't think of what it's called. You'll have to cut it out. But it's called they understand what life is.
Yeah.
The best life to be lived. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a
They
quote.
just get it.
This is actually a quote from you though. I'm not trying to live forever. I just want to be able to do the things I love as long as possible.
Say it again.
I'm not trying to live forever. I just want to be able to do the things I love as long as possible.
That sounds like I want to die young.
I don't know.
I want to be able to.
Go ahead.
I don't want the spark to dim.
Yeah.
And to me, it's my responsibility to keep that spark hot.
Mm.
How about that?
I love that. But that to me comes off like I want to be as healthy as possible, take care of myself the best as possible so I can be here as long as possible, to be here with my children as long as possible and enjoy the things I like riding motorcycles, surfing, and just still being kind of young. I don't know.
That's exactly right. And people
Do
say,
you know
well,
what
why
I
do you
mean?
ride motorcycles when you know you can get, the ratio, the percentage is that you're probably going to get hit and die and all that kind of stuff. And I realize that. But I think that, it can be dangerous if I just stayed at home and did nothing. Is that worth it? Is that the safe, worth it way? No, thanks.
What about RKO doc? We talked about that too, maybe possibly in the future.
Yeah, man. There is a doc.
Okay.
There is a doc, and they're putting it together. Benny, what's Benny's last name? See if I can.
He's putting it together?
Yeah, he's putting it together right now. I think I'm narrating it.
I started asking some musician friends about being interested in being involved. There's a lot of people that love RKO, man.
A lot of people.
From all around the world that love RKO.
Bermudez.
He's doing
Bermudez. Benny Bermudez.
He's doing it?
Yeah, he's doing it. And I've talked to him a few times, and we talked about editing and just making it a more interesting doc. And it is interesting, but the most interesting thing is they've probably influenced more musicians than, even talking to Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam, he was like, no way, RKL.
It's crazy, man.
Dave Grohl, RKL. All that stuff. So they've influenced a lot, and yet they never kind of got theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was because it was so self-destructive, and Jason was, he died pretty young from heroin and all that stuff.
I'm going to say some names. You can tell me like what response would be to these.
Yeah.
The Misfits.
The Misfits, the band?
Yeah, I'm seeing some bands, see if you like them. Black
Amazing
Flag.
band. The Misfits, amazing. Black Flag, so amazing. Henry Rollins, look what he's done with his life, even though he was the second singer of Black Flag. Look at what he's done with his life.
Incredible, man.
Incredible.
Suicidal
Tendencies?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, opening for Metallica.
So cool.
So fucking cool.
Circle Jerks, Minor Threat, Dead Kennedys.
All people that I listened to when I was a kid. Wasted Youth.
Ooh, Wasted Youth.
Remember
Shout out to
Wasted
Joey
Youth?
C. He's in that band.
Yeah.
RKO, obviously. Minor Threat
Minor Threat. It's your big band.
is my big band.
Yeah.
Did you ever get into Fugazi?
No.
How about H2O?
No.
I like you said. You guys really hardcore band. I
Those
love
are
you.
too soft. You're soft hardcore.
Yeah,
You're vegan hardcore.
Yeah, we're just
No, H2O is great, but I'm more into H2O now than I ever was then.
Yeah, because we're friends. Yeah.
Because we're friends.
Yeah, I know about Dune now because of you. I would never fucking know.
You weren't
about
watching Goonies every day back in the day.
Goonies was my shit. It's in my list with E.T.
Okay.
E.T.'s in my top.
E.T.'s amazing.
Um,
Okay, go.
What about your workouts lately? What's your next thing for your workouts? Like, what is your deal? What are you on right now?
Right now,
Real
I'm just
quick before I
taking.
cut you off, Josh pulled up to my house a couple of days ago.
What?
He was on a juice cleanse for like 4 days. He walks in with his bag of juice. He comes here, we chill for a little bit, and then he's like, I gotta eat. I don't feel good. And then we got food, and then you left all your juice in my fridge.
That was like a fucking moment.
He lost
And
it.
then you said, "Can I drink these juices, psycho?"
And then he broke the cleanse with like something at Green Table.
I did.
But dude, I love you because listen, that's just what I love about you. You did the water cleanse for like fucking 8 days, lost like 1,000 pounds.
7 days.
You got me on that shit too. I did it. Had my wife do it. My wife quit soda since then, so thank you.
You're
She hasn't had
welcome.
Diet Coke since then.
Right on.
But you're such a spaz like me. We go from these different diets like every week. Like I'm starting Monday.
Because it's fun. And it's like sometimes you stick with it and sometimes you don't. Fuck it. Who cares?
But then, But then Josh loves animal crackers.
I know.
And that's his kryptonite. That's his weakness.
It is because we have, and it's shaped like It's shaped like a bear, and it's fucking huge. It's this huge
Dell.
container. It says animal crackers on it, and I literally will go in there and take massive handfuls, and then anyway.
But that's being a dad also, and having young kids around. You end up eating what they're eating sometimes.
Dad bod.
But you're
Dad bod.
But you can. I've seen you transform so fucking fast.
If I have to, it's different. If I have incentive, it's a different thing when you do it just for life purposes, which means more now at my age. You know what I mean? At our age.
You have a good metabolism. Somehow you
I do have a good metabolism, and my body reacts strongly. It's like I got surgery on my ankle. I didn't do PT right away. My ankle froze. I started to, like for a year, it wasn't great. And then I started doing PT, and the guy said, I've never seen somebody respond as quickly as you are.
Yeah.
Ankle's almost back to normal, and it's only been like 6 times at the physio.
Yeah, you're healthy, man.
I'm lucky, man.
I'm
lucky. I wasn't always healthy.
You get your checkups and your blood tests and all that stuff, and do all that stuff?
Like the butt poke and all that?
Yeah, you go.
What is that called?
I don't know, just a checkup, man.
No, but what is it called when they
put
an endoscope in your butt?
Oh, colonoscopy.
Colonoscopy.
You
do
that?
a lot of those. You do once a week, don't you?
I used to. No, I got a colonoscopy once. You ever done it too?
Yeah.
We got to do that.
I think we got to do it again.
No, I mean after like 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, but it's been 5 years for me.
So you do that. And that's your last thing. What is your last real job you had where you had a boss?
Where I had a boss?
Yeah, the real job you had to clock in.
RG's Giant Hamburgers on State Street in Santa Barbara.
Wow, good memory.
Thanks, man.
What year was that?
84.
Dude. So that's the last job.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
40 years.
No, dude. That's not true. Prescott, Arizona. I was a landscaper, and I worked for a guy named Tim. My boss was my friend, and I actually worked for him also, and his name was Tim. And I was 29, 30 years old. That was the last job I had.
That's still incredible, man.
Paid job, yeah.
That's incredible, though.
Yeah.
What about... You're 11 years sober now?
You know what's funny, though? I walked into Dargy's Giant Hamburgers, and I saw the owner, and this was before it closed down. It's not there anymore. And I was like, hey, I used to work here. And he goes, no, you didn't. And I go, yeah. What? Yeah, remember I used to work for you, and I kind of fucked up, and you fired me and all that because I had a bunch of people come over in the middle of the night and party in Dargy's Giant Hamburgers. And he goes, yeah, that wasn't here. And I go, yeah, it was, man. I used to work for you. And he literally looked me in the face and he said, you never worked here, which I thought was super weird. Maybe I never did. Maybe I made it up. I don't know. Whatever.
11 years sober. That's amazing, man.
In November.
Yeah. I'm so glad I met you when you're sober.
Yeah, me too.
Might have maybe met if you were
I don't
sober.
think we would have been friends had I not been sober. I think we would have been friends for a little while, and then I think you would have gotten a little, probably not scared of me, but scared of the situation.
Yeah, I don't think I would like you if I did.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think you would have liked me normally.
Yeah.
But then you would go out with me, and then you'd be like, holy shit, like he's got this whole other person that he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some books you're reading now, and how many books are you reading right now?
Dude, I always read a lot of books. I do a
you
daily.
You read so much, dude.
I do a daily thing, and because I like him, and it's such a cliche.
I know.
But I like Ryan Holiday. I think he's great. I think he's taking readings that I read Marcus Aurelius. I read all this kind of Epictetus and all that. But the fact that he can put it in such a digestible way, I like. That's why I give it to my friends and shit, because it's like, look, life is fucking hard. Life on life's terms is hard, and like fucking man up.
Yeah.
Whether you're a woman or a man or whatever, it doesn't matter. And I like that idea that life is hard. Don't pretend like it's not hard. You got to have some grit and just get shit done, and don't get too comfortable.
Yeah.
And so there's that. I'm reading George Saunders right now. I'm reading Maya Angelou Letters to Her Daughter right now. I'm reading, what else?
Like movies, are there books you sometimes go back to and read again a bunch of times throughout your life? The same book?
I became friends with Gregory David Roberts, who wrote Shantaram, and we actually hung out for a while, and I went over to India, and I spent some time with him and rode motorcycles around Bombay or
That's
Mumbai
cool.
and all that. It's an amazing book.
Yeah.
It's a really special book. There's that. There's Executioner's Song, that was probably the biggest book I read when I was young. I was really taken by that book. There's a couple. There's a couple out there.
Yeah, you inspired me to read more, though. I'm really happy. Now that I've read your book, I'm going to start reading more things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cool.
You're the best, Josh. You enjoying yourself?
I am, man.
This is chill. I knew
I was stoked about today.
Yeah, I'm glad we're here talking.
That's why we've tried to do this before,
I
and
know.
then I just like kind of bout the whole thing because it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, what is fucking hanging? You gonna get more tattoos?
Maybe.
You got the two now. The two Dr. Wu's.
I got. Yeah. Dr. Wu's. One is a drawing that my son did. One is
Those
an
are
anchor
awesome.
in a steer head because it represents the desert and the ocean alike, which I think, like as my daughter said, defines me very well symbolically. Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the lasering's going good. Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to Removery. He's lasering Josh. We've been to his house a couple times. He's getting all this old smudges.
All that tattoo on tattoo on tattoo on
Yeah.
tattoo off my back, and it's finally, now it doesn't look like a fucking loogie anymore.
Yeah, Josh had like a black smudge on his back for a long time, and then some blue ink on his arm. It's crazy. You do have to cover those up in movies because you can't really see them anyway. Yeah.
The back I did
Yeah.
a few times. I mean, through the years, because I was getting it done, but it fucking hurts so much. It used to hurt so much.
You got done back in the day before.
And then
the
Removery
lasers.
is like the easiest thing ever and the most effective.
Yeah, they were
It
scarring
sounds
you.
like we're like selling it, but it's
No.
true.
Yeah.
I don't sell shit.
Well, they were scarring you back in the day.
Yeah. Well, no.
Eden told me a story. Eden told me she went with you when she was a kid. When she was younger, she saw you getting it done.
No, I would take them
Yeah, she
because
saw it. She
I
said it was
didn't want them to
crazy.
get tattoos. And
Yeah.
Eden ended up getting tattoos and Trevor didn't.
Yeah,
But
she got tats, yeah.
it used to blister. It used to pus up. It used to bleed. You know, you'd brush up
Crazy.
against your kid and they'd go, oh, bye, get all over their shirt.
Yeah, your stuff's kind of scarred looking now a little bit. Well, now it's all with the new stuff, but yeah.
Whatever.
Shout out to Eden, too. Eden came out to my show in Jersey. That was really nice.
Yeah, man.
She just had a tour. Attaboy.
Attaboy. She just had a tour, and then she's going to continue the tour on the East Coast.
It's awesome.
Starting in late September.
What's your take on social media? We kind of talk about this a lot when we're hanging out, just like being on there, like the false sense of reality, the perception, cancel culture. Just you're pretty active. Are you answering DMs on there and responding to?
No, I
fans?
used to, man. I used to like, you know.
Oh yeah, you call people out like, here's my phone number. Let's fucking meet up. I remember this. You got crazy on there. You wanted to fight people, dude. I remember. What's your address?
Dude, I would, because people, there's no consequence. You say comment and this idea that you can write anything you want and you feel like you've gotten away with it.
So annoying.
So I'd say, call me. Like, say that shit to my face,
Yeah.
you know?
Which would never happen in a trillion years.
But then, you know, then they're super like, you know, they're polite and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you polite for? You just said this fucking, let me read it back to you, bro.
I know. I just
You
wanted
know?
your attention, and thanks for responding. I'm a
And
fan.
that's the thing. And now I don't do that anymore just because it's so obvious. It's such an obvious thing. But
And
to
that's what they
me,
want.
if you don't have discipline, like that's where the stoic thing comes in. If you don't have discipline, then you're fucked on social media. If you actually believe that somebody is better off than you because of what they're posting, then you're fucked.
Fact.
And if you care.
But that's causing lots of kids depression. Young
It
kids.
is.
That's what's causing a lot of-
Absolutely. I think 100%. Whereas me, I've found
false reality.
incredible artists on it.
You did.
Incredible artists. I've found amazing painters. I've found amazing writers. I've found amazing people. But I don't sit there and look at people's pictures and go, God, I wish I had what they had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was never, I was late coming into Instagram. I've never done anything other than Instagram. And to me, Instagram is like it's like a social experiment. It's like, here's a good example. Like the naked picture, one of the two naked pictures.
Which one? The one that Cherry shot at Brian's that day, or the
No,
one of you just
the other one.
looking off a building or whatever?
Me looking off at like a porch, and I
Yeah.
had boots on, and we were doing what's it called? Only the Brave, the fire movie about the
Great movie.
19
Yep.
guys that died in the Yarnell fire.
Good
And it
movie.
really, that movie meant more to me than probably any movie I've ever done. We took it very seriously. We took the training very seriously and all that. And the whole thing about fire training or wildlife training, wildfire, is that those boots, you know, they create a lot of blisters, a lot of blood in order to what do you call it? To get them soft, get the leather soft, to break them in.
Break
is what
them
I'm
in.
thinking.
Sorry.
Sorry. And then
Calluses.
so we like fucking the pictures, the blisters, the blood, all that kind of stuff. So we finally broke them in, and I had Catherine take a shot of me naked with the boots on, and then I posted it, and I said basically something like "ready," like we're ready.
Yeah.
representing these guys. And then the studio called me freaking out. And they were like, you have to take that off. It's disrespectful. And I said, no. And they were like, we're demanding that you take that off. It becomes libel and all this kind of stuff. And I said, no. And then finally, and I was fucking praying, dude. I was praying because because I was a volunteer firefighter before, I thought I knew, I was hoping. And then finally the families of the kids that have perished, started commenting, he's one of us. He's this.
Dude.
And I go, thank you, God.
Oh my God.
And that was the kind of intention of
That's
like, look,
man.
This is not just a bunch of fucking actors, even though we are actors, but we're taking this very seriously. We take this to heart.
Yeah.
And they go, thank God it's him because he gets it.
Wow.
That makes me emo.
Yeah.
So.
Is that the same picture they pull up on The View and showed your dad?
No, that was the one at Brian's.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're in contact with those fire people still. I know. I see you.
The what?
The firemen and stuff. You're in contact with them still from the movie.
Yeah.
The real ones and stuff. Yeah.
No, the real ones are dead.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
No, but there's
But I'm sure
Donut,
did you
who
work
was
with
the
some
one
to
guy.
teach you
No,
to be a
but
fireman?
Donut, who was the one guy who survived.
Okay.
I still talk to.
I have such respect for firemen, man. It's unreal, man.
Me too.
They're the real superheroes, man.
Any fire truck that goes by, my family, my young kids, and my wife stop on the street. We stop always and we wave always.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
I love it, man.
Massive respect.
They don't get enough credit, man. I don't think.
There's more credit than could ever be given.
Yeah. So social media, you don't check DMs anymore. You don't care about negative comments. You're not really fucking on it like that.
I don't care about that, period.
Yeah.
Whether it's on social media or in life.
Yeah, I think you never have anyway.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to waste my fucking time.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time worried that some people aren't
Back
gonna,
then you did, but yeah.
Back then, maybe.
When you wanted
maybe
to fight
it was
fools, yeah.
Yeah, it was just an excuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like maybe I just wanted to fight anyway. And it's just like, that looks like a good sucker. But now I don't feel like fighting. And now
I'm glad you don't feel like fighting.
Me too. I like it. But now I just don't. I don't want that space in my head. I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I love that. What about therapy?
And by the way, I don't want it's whether it's compliments or negative. Like I like, the compliments always feel good, but at the same time I don't sit there scrolling through compliments going, I'm filling up. It's just like, it's not that they're the same. It's just I'm not defined by either one.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Yeah.
What about therapy? You believe in therapy?
I do.
Have you had some therapy throughout your life?
Massive.
Yeah.
Different things, but more on an experimental basis.
Mm.
More because I wanted to try everything.
Yeah.
And early on, I think because I thought something was severely wrong with me. And like the guy, the guy who said, isn't it great that we are the way we are, given to its own devices, it's incredibly destructive. And that whole thing that I said, that guy changed my life.
Okay.
That guy changed my life because that perspective of, look, we are who we are, and it's about more utilizing through given tools to have a positive impact than a negative.
I love that.
So I think therapy helped me a couple of times.
Yeah. Throughout your life.
Yeah, but I think if you're not implementing shit, because I think a lot of therapy is somebody who's paid to sit there and listen to you just gab.
Yeah.
And I think that's a waste.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I went a couple of times now. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go back. It was a good.
I think you should probably go back.
Yeah.
Just talking to you now, you probably need it.
After this conversation.
I
shit myself.
After reading that book.
No, dude. Back to the book. The book is incredible. I mean, I learned a lot about you. You're such a poet. It was just really good to get into your mind and your life and your history. Because I know what I know about you through being your friend, but then just hearing these stories, your mom is just throughout the whole entire book. She's just.
If you get something from the book, if you, Toby Morse, read the book, having not read for 7 years
more
or whatever,
that, probably, man.
Probably more than that, and you read the book and you were moved by the book.
Absolutely.
Outside of just us being friends.
Well, I see you in a different perspective, and I've always had respect for you, but I have a whole different respect for you now, just how you came up.
That's amazing.
Because I think I know you through our friendship and what we talked about and our many discussions and our hangs is all that stuff. But then you read this stuff because this is so much This is deep, man. A lot of deep stuff in here about your mom and your dad, and just like your child, just like you're getting arrested, you fighting with cops, you getting fucking stabbed. Oh, you're getting stabbed. That moment, because we talked about that before, but like that's a crazy moment too, dude.
Yeah, it's a crazy moment. I mean, it's just another moment.
Yeah, but that could have been the end of you. That could have been no Josh.
It could have.
You know what I mean?
But
like
there's many of those. I mean, it's not, and I don't mean
near-death
to say
experiences.
that, but it's like, why there? Because I put myself there.
Yeah.
Did it really just happen, or
Yeah.
did I put myself there?
Yeah.
God, look at how gorgeous he is.
Dude, but yeah, getting stabbed. That was crazy time. What country was that in again?
Costa Rica.
That's right, dude.
San Jose. And that's just something that those guys, not that, I mean, it's pretty widespread from what I learned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just pick a tourist coming out of a, boutique hotel or some shit. And they, where you shouldn't be going out on the street. And it happened. And I got super lucky. And it was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It didn't get me sober, but maybe
it's
eventually.
It's crazy that it didn't get you sober. Yeah.
No, man. Because any one thing, my mentality back then was, that's a fucking Tuesday.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Another day.
It's just another fucking day. This is my life. This is what defines me. You don't like it, eat it.
Yeah.
And now it's not like that.
Yeah.
I go, I have that. I feel very grateful that I survived it, and that I kept putting myself in positions that shit like that happens.
Yeah.
And now I find danger in a different area.
You're pretty fearless, though, growing up.
No, I think I was incredibly fearful.
Really?
Yeah, and I think I just walked toward that fear. I think I've always had that thing in me that walks toward the thing that scares me the most. Why would I become an actor? Like I always had a deep, debilitating fear of public speaking. So I became an actor.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Are you an optimist?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so. Aside from things that piss me off, which are not very many.
You're a pretty positive dude.
You think so?
Yeah.
You would know better.
You may be
than
like
me.
a realist, kind of like Moon says she's a realist.
I think so. I'm a realist. I think that makes
You're more
sense.
reality about it. Like I kind of tend to live my PMA bubble and think that everything in the world's wonderful. We're all going to be
I'm not like
united.
That.
And
I'm not a dreamer in that way.
Yeah.
You are.
Maybe I am a dreamer. Yeah, I don't know. I was always...
No, but you're not, though, man. When it comes down to it, like the veganism and all that kind of stuff, like you're hardcore.
Yeah.
You're hardcore about shit. That's what I love about you. If you were just this kind of like flighty, airy, I'd be like, Toby. He's fucking jerking off on his own jet stream.
No. I care too much to think about the world too much. And I have
care.
Empathy, and I feel the pain of all this stuff happening. And sometimes it's frustrating not being able to talk about things. If you want to maybe post about something you feel because you want to speak your piece and use your voice. But I don't know. It's just like, I definitely feel the world's pain and definitely get emotional about things a little. I'm a very emotional person for sure.
Yeah, but you like you cry to Coldplay.
Yes.
I mean, a lot. You know what I mean?
There's no artist that makes you cry, no musician?
Yeah, dude, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not, Coldplay is more kind of status quo, like make you cry.
Yeah, but you also love Taylor Swift, so we're equal.
I like Taylor Swift now. I was forced. Taylor Swift.
Hey, that's true.
Taylor Swift was forced down my throat by two young children and my wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's a generational gap between my wife and I. So, she anyway. So,
true,
but then one day I just got it. And then one day I got creeped out because I was like, why am I listening to Taylor Swift and nobody's in the car?
There's some older Swifties. It's okay.
Really?
Yeah, in their 50s.
Not
like,
this old, bro.
Dude, so many parents are Swifties is what I'm being told because their kids are.
How did I describe it in the book? I described me and my wife getting together as Black Sabbath meets Taylor Swift.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
That was a great one, dude. Yeah. I forgot about that.
That's pretty accurate.
No, it's true though. But yeah, Taylor Swift's cool.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So is Black Sabbath.
Your kids open your minds up to, different types of music and stuff.
Yeah. Olivia Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Or is Olivia Rodrigo?
One of those names.
I think it's one.
You have any, you still have no regrets in your life, really, or no?
Yeah, I have regrets, but it's stuff I know I can't take back. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Like I've accepted that I regret it.
Yeah.
I don't sit here and I'm not steeping in shame and guilt because of it. Like I know what it is. There's things that happen in my life that I look back on and I go, God, man, I can't believe that I would allow myself to do that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it earlier, man. You're like getting canceled and all that. And it freaks me out. You want to talk about being an optimist or a pessimist? It freaks me out when I see these people who get busted or whatever, and you go, fuck, there were so many skeletons in that closet.
Yeah.
I don't have any skeletons.
You don't?
I don't think so.
Everything's out there.
Everything's out there.
Yeah, you hard. Like, I love that.
And I don't want any skeletons. Like that's a very active thing that I do. I don't want any skeletons. I don't want to hide. It's a scary way to live. It's like, oh, you fucking little dogs in closets. No way. Why? Why the little poor dog? Why the fuck did you do that? He's so small. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't like what, and then you meet the guy who's fucking the small dogs in the closet, and he's like, hey, how are you? He's so nice. And you're like, why? I would rather have bad days and live out my bad days truthfully and organically and not, hurt the poor dog.
You think only bad people fuck dogs?
I don't bad people.
It could be, there's so many, we're getting canceled talking about this, but people,
well, now that ASPCA is kind of fucking.
Oh yeah, Peter's already coming for me for like reading a
exactly.
part of your book about killing an animal.
No, it happened.
Well, I'm excited you taking Max to the surf thing coming up. That's really sweet of you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
He's very excited for that, man.
You know what? It's my pleasure.
I love your love for my son and
I
the
love
way
your family.
and the way he can text you and ask you questions about anything, and you're there for him. I appreciate that so much.
Are you kidding me?
He looks up to you so much, man.
Well, I love him, man.
No, it's really nice too. It's like I don't know.
It's not based on you, bro.
It's true. So when this pod's out, the book has been out.
Yeah.
Brothers is out.
Yeah.
This book's out.
Yep.
What's the date for this book?
November 19th.
November 19th, it's out.
And you know what? It's been really, pre-orders have been really great.
So psyched for you. That's so cool.
Which I'm surprised. When you write a book and then you put it out there, especially if it's an unconventional book like this, that doesn't follow a linear timeline and all that, you kind of go, nobody's going to fucking give a shit about this book. Like, no, who cares? Nobody cares. They want they want my relationship with an actor or a musician or whatever. But it seems to not be the case. People seem to be really into it. People seem to be wanting something unconventional, which is nice.
But it's also, back to social media, man. Like, obviously people know that you write, that you love books, that you and movies, that you're an incredible actor. But your social media has been a place where you have some amazing photos you post that Catherine takes or you take. And just your writing on there is incredible. And people see that from your social media, like the way you write and describe things or tell stories or talk about your family. It's super beautiful. The grammar is incredible. People know you're a writer, and I think it's from Instagram. To be honest, you really started putting a lot of things out there on that.
I did, and
back then.
And then you started writing #Brolin book. That was you. So maybe you're the reason why this book. I'm just
saying, man.
Royalties.
But I was a supporter. I'm just saying, but you do admit, like you put a lot of stuff on your social back then, like just different photos and.
But see that to me, when I look back on it and I go, listen, man, like this is literally the first time I'm thinking of this, which is probably insensitive. But I'm like, maybe you were the reason why this book happened. Maybe I'm the reason why this podcast happened.
Yeah, I was just
maybe you know what I'm saying. And then when you look at it like that, you're like, that's friends.
Supporting each other.
That's what friendship is.
100%, dude.
That's what friendship is. And that's what we've lost. And that's what, we're so divisive now. And whether we're talking politically or just like
I hate all that
on
stuff.
A civilian level. And you go, why, man? What was great about the 70s? Yeah, there was a lot of corruption. There was a lot of shit. And there was a lot of that. But then it was like you had gangs and you had groups and you had people you could rely on for better or worse. And it's like, why can't we recreate that on a more positive level now?
Yeah.
Instead of you're good, I'm bad, you're bad, I'm good, whatever.
Yeah.
And I go, when you look at that and you go, you may have instigated that book, I may have instigated this podcast.
Crazy,
How
dude.
Fucking crazy is that? It's great.
And I think this book
the way life should be.
Is good for people who may be into the acting world, maybe into motorcycles, maybe into music, maybe into being sober, had lost a parent, went through divorce. It's so many different things, this book. Because you've lived so many different lives, it seems. You've been through a lot of different things, That's why I think it's
And there's
inspiring.
also a through line of being lonely.
Totally.
There's a through line
Dude,
of
like
being,
on the airplane, just being away from your wife. That
Exactly.
whole chapter about like that was just reading that. I was like, wow, you know, like.
And in this day and age, you're talking about, you know, people, suicide, you know, percentages and all that kind of stuff. And that's what it comes down to when people feel alone, when people feel like there's nobody to lean on and all that kind of stuff. And I've felt that way. You felt that way.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's a reminder that you have to be active in your own community.
Yeah.
And you are not alone. You know, we feel alone at times. We isolate. The world makes you feel alone sometimes.
And also, people think being famous, being a celebrity, being an actor or actress, if you say that word still, being in movies, you have all the money, you have everything you need, you have everything. That doesn't mean you're happy, doesn't mean you go through shit, doesn't mean you have any feelings. You're a fucking human being who I fucking know, love dearly. You're just like everybody. You fart, you shit, you make mistakes.
I don't shit in public, though.
I know, but whatever. You definitely shit in my toilet. I've seen some skid marks. But dude, you're a fucking human being. And just because you have all the success, you still had this childhood. You still had this life. You still lost your fucking mom. Like, I lost my dad at 3 years old. I think about my dad all the fucking time. I'm not saying, like, because I lost my dad, I'm this way or that way. But
it's a fact.
It's a fact. And, like, this is part of your journey. And you've been sharing it, I think, through your social media for a long time with the stuff you write about stuff. But then the book, your acting, people that know you personally, people that know you before you're sober, people know you now are sober. So I feel like this book covers so much of you, and I think it's just the beginning of you. I think you have so much more to put out. I think this is like the first book of many, with all the journals you have, with your life experiences. I don't know. I think it's fucking...
I'd like to think that it's the beginning. It'd be nice if it was the beginning and it wasn't just a one-off.
Yeah, it must feel good, like, just to have it right here.
It is. It's
Are
amazing,
there some things that
to
didn't
see you holding it is amazing.
Is there something that didn't make the book? You're like, fuck, or I wish I didn't put that in the book, or
no, because it'll go in the next book.
Yeah.
If that's what I choose. If I choose to do a similar thing in the next book, it'll go in the next book. But it started out as 90,000 words, so it was like 400 and something pages, and now it's 240 pages. So we knocked it down.
Is it hard to do that? And like
it is hard to do
out?
it. I mean, it was a learning trajectory, and I had to be, you know, I let a couple people read it. I let a couple people give me notes. I thought the notes were really good.
That's cool. You listened to the opinions.
I did. And McConaughey actually read it, and he wasn't one of those people, but he read it, and he gave me an incredible blurb.
Yeah, you read it to me. It's amazing.
And he gave me notes on it too, and they were great notes.
Yeah.
And they had to do with something that I had been contending with anyway, which is you don't tell people how to feel. Just give them the story. Clarify it. And, you know, especially me, I have this tendency to get too colorful or too, you know, it's like trying to be Kerouac or something like that. And you go, look, I think I had found my voice long before this.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I refined it. And it's influenced for sure, but I'm not trying to be anybody other than myself. For better or worse, this is me writing. This is not me trying to be this person or that person and say, like me, and because I'm like this. And,
no, I know.
You know, it's no carbon copy. This is my voice for what it's worth.
What's the name come from? Because I know there's that one story in the book where the guy's drunk, he's under the truck at the bar.
From under the truck.
You know that what story in there?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
That was
of course
my
you
mom's
wrote
boyfriend.
it. Yeah.
That was my mom's boyfriend.
But from under the truck,
I wonder if, wait, let me see.
What this inspires.
Wait, keep talking.
I mean, I kind of think I know, but then it's also like, I don't know, man, there's some morbid stuff in there too I'm thinking about. I don't know what to say.
Right.
But shout out to Jane Brolin, dude. Oh my God, big part of this book.
Prose pieces, books. Wait.
So we can edit this stuff and make it smooth. It's all good. Josh Brolin from under the truck.
Oh, here it is. A Murder of Lies, an alternate to self-help memoir. That was one possible title.
Okay.
Let's see.
Self-help memoir.
Misfit Alley.
Ooh, that's kind of hard. That's the name of a fucking band, dude. That's kind of hard.
The Neck of My Heart is Broken.
Ooh, that's pretty emo.
Bland.
That's pretty emo. That's like a name of an emo band.
It is. The Feral Overtures. Oh, that's so lame.
That's too big for me. It's big words for me.
Let's see.
I like the Misfit Alley. It's pretty freaking sick. CITO Rats.
CITO Rats.
You need a CITO Rats tattoo, though. I
Swallow and Wait. What the fuck is that? That's like some porn. That's a porn.
I was just going to say that, too. That could have been that.
Mama Tried from Merle Haggard's song.
Okay, that'd be dope. I like that.
That'd be amazing. Let's see.
Misfits Alley is pretty cool too.
Tylenol Mama.
What?
Let's see.
These are all your.
Yeah, dude. I'm Pat. I wrote hundreds.
Damn.
Look at, dude.
Oh my God, your notes, bro.
These are my notes.
And so that's in there. From Under the Truck's in there.
Stories I Left Out, a companion piece.
Was it hard to choose the title?
A Light from Under the Truck. That was one.
That's pretty sick.
A Light from Under the Truck. But from Under the Truck, I like that kind of double entendre of like, is he being run over or is he fixing something?
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of like that.
My
dad asked me, he goes, what's that mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I told him, I said, this was the thought behind it. And he goes, yeah, I should have figured that out.
Has your dad read the book yet or seen it?
No.
I hope he reads it, man.
I hope he does too. I really hope he does.
Maybe listen to the audiobook, whatever. I'm gonna do the audiobook too as well.
Are you?
I've always been a cheater on books and listen to audiobooks, but
yeah, but you read this book.
I know. How many hours did it take you to do the audiobook for this?
4 days.
That was a rough one for you, man. I felt for you. Because you have to
I don't know what it was. They said it was emotional. Was it the stories? I go, no, I don't think so. I just think that, there's one thing if you're reading to an audience, I think what you start to do with the Audible is you start to focus on the words instead of the story.
And how you're pronouncing them. And so it's
and then you lose the music of it.
Yeah.
And you need the music. So I would go back and then I'd listen to it and I'd go, no, we didn't get it. Let's do it again.
Because you don't want it to sound like you're reading it. Because you are reading it because it's a book, but you want to have the passion and feel it from you.
They had a great note, and yes, by the way, what you just said.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, they go, read it like you're reading it to a friend.
I like that.
And I was like, that was a great note.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get away from the bigness of it. Oh, people are going to hear this, or people are going to this, and too much pressure. What do you want to talk about?
Never say die.
Hey man, what do you want to talk about?
Never say die except when it's Goonies Part 2.
By the way, is Goonies Part 2 going to happen?
I don't know.
Who's going to be in it? Meryl Streep.
Who's going to play you in there?
Yeah, who's going to pay? How are we going to be in it? Are we going to just be old people in it with walkers or what? Depends. Wearing Depends. Shitting in public.
What is your...
That's this episode. Shitting in public with Josh Brolin.
What is Josh Brolin's take on hip-hop? Do you like hip-hop music?
Yeah.
Do you listen to rap music? Probably not.
Some. Eminem.
Oh, yeah. I played you the new Eminem. That's right.
Yeah, but I've always listened to Eminem.
Yeah.
I like anybody who experiments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if I listen to Taylor Swift, like that's decent writing and this my kids and I understand it and it's simple.
Yeah.
But Eminem experiments. He's constantly experimenting with the platform.
He's people pushing. Too. I know. He's pretty punk, to be honest.
Super punk.
He never cared about being canceled from jump. He always stayed the same. He always talked about the same things. He never really cared about that, and I respect someone like that. He's not scared about that.
Sober guy, by the way.
Yeah, he is, and it didn't affect his career at all. You know what I'm saying? Like this new record is as big as possible.
Because he's the real deal. He's not bullshitting you.
Yeah.
He's saying this is it, and I think people really respond to that. They're like, because it's few and far between right now. You're like that. You're just you.
I am.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. But
Vegan or not.
Yeah.
There's a drawer of sugar over here that I know it's not your drawer.
No, it's my wife's, man. Of course, my wife's. Wherever the Wonder Bread is and there's Cheerios, that's my wife.
The Wonder Bread.
Did you ever want to be a musician because you love music so much?
I did.
Or like
I think I still
do.
I think I still do.
Yeah.
But my daughter's doing it.
It's always like actors want to be musicians and musicians want to be actors.
It's always the grass is greener on the other side. I mean, to me, it's like I played drums and I played okay, and I played guitar, but I played
That's right.
okay.
You played drums in my garage once. That's right.
I played drums in your garage, and I love it. And I went and I just got sticks the other day, and I got a pad so I could practice my
Dude, Max should
Travis Barker paradiddles and shit.
Max should do some drumming with you, man. That'd be so
I would
cool.
love it, man, honestly. But it's like, you go, oh, you can't do it now because you're 56. Like, bullshit.
Dude.
I would love to start doing it more. I know I'm going to get a drum set for this place that we moved to. I'm positive I'm going to get a drum set. Put on headphones and do what I should have done when I was 13 and start learning songs and learning, what do they call them? Fills.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. But yeah, man, I think... I've just taken what I didn't learn musically and I've incorporated it into what I do. So, like, if it's writing, it's very musical to me. Like, how it reads should read musically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm acting, there's something musical about it. There's a cadence of a certain character that should be a certain way. That's based on music, not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love like actors who become musicians and pull it off. I think Juliette Lewis is an incredible front woman.
Amazing.
She loves punk. She comes from that world, and she just kills both. Jared Leto is pretty freaking good in his band 30 Seconds to Mars.
But you know who's better than all of them? David Hasselhoff.
That's right. Is he still playing music?
I don't know. In Germany.
Johnny Depp's a ripper.
Johnny Depp's
Kevin
amazing.
Bacon's in the band, the Bacon Brothers.
Yeah.
They got music.
But they've always been involved in music. Johnny
Yeah.
was like, before he was even an actor.
He
was
wanted
in a
to be a
band.
musician. That's right.
Yeah. He was in a band.
Yeah, it's cool seeing like people cross over and do Ice Cube. I think he's a great actor. Common, a rapper who's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many like to transition, do both things. You can do both. You can do everything.
Everybody wants to be an actor. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to act.
Is there anything else you want to learn
Everything.
on this planet besides being an actor, playing drums, writing a book, and obviously being directing, producing?
Being a playwright. I wrote a play.
Yep. That's right. You wrote the play. Oh, wait. I went to the play. Okay. I went to Josh's play that he wrote. I forgot what it's called. Or something pig. Wait. What's a pig's nest? Yeah. I go there with my wife. I can't tell Josh that me and Moon are fucking gigantic Patricia Arquette fans because True Romance is our favorite movie, and we still think that she is Alabama from that movie, which she's not. And we go to this reading, and I forgot the other kid who was there. He's another great actor. Who knows what it was? But we go, and they do a reading of Josh's play, and it was fucking really awesome, man. That was another sick moment. Me and Moon were there. It was really great.
I love that you guys were there.
Catherine was there. Erica was there. And then after that,
we had a talk back afterwards, which was great.
Yeah,
a lot of great notes.
That was really cool. Yeah, and so they're giving their notes to Josh. He's in the audience about the play he wrote. I think that was really awesome. I've never seen nothing like that before. And then there was so many actors and actresses there. Do we say only actor now or actresses?
I don't know.
And then me and Moon, I said, Moon, go outside. Patricia's out there by herself. She's out there smoking a cigarette, which I thought was so fucking ill that she's still smoking cigarettes. And that's almost like her character. And then Moon goes outside. She's like, I didn't say nothing to her. We never said nothing to her. Whatever. I don't want to embarrass her.
That was a fun night, though. She was amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody was
so
amazing.
good. Yeah.
Everybody in the play was amazing. And
you have a freaking play, too.
Mary Vernew helped me put it together, who's an amazing casting director. And yeah, it was cool, man. And then we're producing that play. People in the audience were like, you have to get this play produced now.
Yeah.
And it was cool. So to answer your question, experiment. Is there anything I want to learn? Everything. Why? Because I just want to get my hands in. I want it to have gotten in every jar.
Yeah.
And it's not just to say that I did everything, but creatively.
Yeah. But it brings me back to
there's nothing that fascinates me more than the human condition, and it sounds lame when I say it, but it's just true.
Yeah.
Why do people do what they do is endlessly fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say?
It reminds me of the letter your mom wrote you in there about that. Keep learning, keep all that stuff. And you're still doing it, man. It's crazy that, like, just reading that back to you, it's like, wow, that's really Josh. That's like what he's been doing.
I used to paint a lot when I was younger.
I see
painted
that.
like when we lived in where was it? Hollywood Tower between Argyle and Gower on Franklin.
Yeah.
Back when that wasn't the safest area, and that's where Trevor was born. That's where we had a little 1-bedroom apartment after Trevor was born.
Yeah.
That's where we went. So I used to paint out in the hallway.
Oh, that's right. And somebody took your paintings and you saw them. This is the story
in the book. Away.
Yeah, they threw them away. Then somebody was selling them and you wouldn't even sell them back to you.
And I go, bro, and I went down to go get out of the dumpster again. And the guy who had this like makeshift flea market, and I go, hey, bro, those are my paintings. And he's like, not anymore. And I was like, no, bro, come on. Those are my paintings. And he said, you $5 or $10 a piece or whatever. I said, I'm not going to fucking pay $10 a piece.
Somebody has Brolin
and he sold all those paintings. He sold probably 30 paintings.
So there's 30 paintings that
30
Josh
paintings
did
out there. They're probably like not very good, but
that's such a great story. I forgot about that story, dude. Oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
Trying to hustle you back and send
trying to hustle me back. Respect.
So maybe you paint again.
No, I don't know. I think that's probably why I collect. You know?
You have a cool collection, man. That's another thing. I've never seen like art like that. You know what I mean?
Jamie Holmes is somebody I collect and who's an amazing L.A. painter. Here, let's go down.
Is that the one you found on Instagram and you have like those beautiful
No,
women?
I didn't find him on Instagram, but I was very lucky that my agent, Joel Lubin, who's a major collector and a lover of painting, but Genevieve Figgis, Jesse Homer French, wait. Bear with me for a second.
Oh, it's all good, man.
Scott Avett.
I bought a play.
He played at our wedding, Scott Avett, and I have a painting of his, Shara Hughes. Helen Lunderberg, Honor Titus, Scott Kahn, not that Scott Kahn, another Scott
say,
Kahn.
Is that these paints too? Wow.
Vera Gaviri.
Scott Kahn's an ill skateboarder, man.
Danielle McKinney, who's one of the best painters out there.
And
right
a bunch.
now.
Some we found on Instagram, right? Just started buying stuff from him.
A lot of the stuff I found on Instagram.
That's it. That's a cool positive thing of Instagram, just finding cool things like that.
Ann Buckwalter, Ian Felice. I mean, there's some great fucking paintings here. Oh wait, Ann Buckwalter. I already said that. Jonathan Gardner.
I'm glad you're still in California. I thought you to be out here for a minute when you're traveling around and doing different things, Atlanta, all that stuff. But
yeah, man.
And you're not that far from me now.
We're not that far, but further than I want to be. I told you were renting downstairs, and that if I didn't have Venice, I would probably rent downstairs. I would rent your place downstairs.
So sick.
The Pico Yard.
90 miles from here.
It's 90 miles from here.
Just sucks when your best homie doesn't drive, but
I know. But I got home the other day after the chopper run that we just did at Pappy and Harriet's in Joshua Tree that Brian Bowen Smith and Rooster did. And Rooster, who's Michael Moore, Rooster, we call him Rooster, and going back to Santa Barbara after that, after a really hot fucking severe run with 30, 40 guys, was really nice.
It was.
Yeah, man.
It was a pretty quick drive. It was a nice drive.
Easy drive, nice to kind of get out of.
You don't
LA.
miss Malibu?
I don't miss Malibu. I there's things I miss about it, especially revolving around the kids.
Yeah.
And I miss my crew being so close by.
Yeah.
The chopper crew.
Yeah.
But no, I miss Venice.
Yeah.
I do miss Venice.
You can always go there though.
I can always.
When's the
go
last
there.
time you surfed?
Oh shit! Fucking put me on the spot, dude.
It's been a minute, right?
It has been a minute. I'm not gonna.
You better get your chops up, man.
I know. We're going to fucking Kelly's Ranch.
I know.
And
you're gonna get
and
prepared
I can't
for that.
wait.
I know. You gotta train for that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you got to train for that. And I've been getting in shape for that. But you and I are going to go eat right now.
Yeah, man.
Because we're fucking hungry.
Dude, thank you so much, dude. I knew the part 2 was going to be so much more.
Are we going to do a part 3?
Someday, whenever you want. Do a couple years from now. We'll see where we're at, what's going on.
All right, man.
But we covered a lot. It's been an incredible year for you, all the stuff you've done. I know that you don't care about that. You're already on. I know you do care about it, but you're already focused on your book now. You did this SNL. You had that Dune. You did all the traveling for that. You were like freaking on. You were all around the world for that. But now it's like, now you're focused on your book. This is your baby. You wrote this. Is all you. This isn't a big production company. This isn't a movie. This is you, dude. This is something. It's like a baby. It's like a new baby to be proud of. You know what I mean? This is all you. Yeah. It's really cool, man.
It's
super
scary.
stoked for you.
It's
and HarperCollins is no joke. That's a good company.
Yeah, and Kim Witherspoon, who's my agent at Inkwell Management in New York, it was really important for me to get a real agent, and she took a chance on me, and I'm really grateful to her.
This is going to feel almost better than doing a movie because it's your shit.
How about this? This is what starts the book. It claws at me with its long, thin nails. Ooh. I wince as I hear my parents inside the house fighting, but with the whinnying of the horses so... Oh, fuck. Ready?
What do you mean now? Because we're both on caffeine, no food?
It claws... Okay, ready? Okay, here we go.
Wow.
It claws at me with its long, thin nails. I wince as I hear my parents inside the house fighting, but with the whinnying of the horses so loud, I can't be sure it's them or the dogs or the wolves whose cages I'll have to clean soon. Even with the sound of the leaves in the trees, the cold grass on my back, there's the strange feeling that all the oxygen in the world is drifting in a direction away from me. Rain is coming, though. It isn't here yet, but I can feel it coming.
Beautiful, man. I love how like your mama like wolves and coyotes and all kinds of animals in the crib and like at the house.
That's it.
Like trying to tame them and bring
them.
Look
at how you've marked up this book, dude. That's like to see my book.
I'm trying to be professional,
like
bro.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's funny you pulled out the parts that, like about animals and stuff. That's interesting, Josh.
Yeah.
That's what my mental psyche is when I read those things. I don't know.
Right on. Thank you for reading this book, dude.
Dude, thank you for fucking sending me a copy of it, and thank you for being an awesome inspiration and friend in my life. I probably talk to you just as much as I talk to my wife and my son.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we met for some reason. We didn't meet. We weren't introduced. We weren't connected anyway. It just was a random ass day, man. It's so wild, man. We've never ate at that restaurant. Yeah, we have to go to the restaurant someday. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we gave each other. We didn't even give Instagrams or anything. We're just like,
Nothing.
and somehow we connected after that. It was really weird, dude.
It was organic. It was truly organic.
I love
our
friendship. I don't know. I remember walking across the street. Like, it's just.
I love our friendship.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy. I know that. I always say, like, if Josh can pull up to my crib for a podcast, anybody can, because you're so fucking busy all the time. You know what I mean? You have a family and you're fucking always traveling. You're kind of far away, but not really. I feel like you're so far away, but I'm happy it's like not far away.
I love that you keep trying to convince yourself that it's not really that far. That's cool.
I can't wait to see moving downstairs. It's gonna be so sick. But the book's out. You get the book. We can get the book now everywhere. Where is it? Amazon.
The book everywhere. You can get the book at Amazon. Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. You can get the book anywhere.
Let's talk about the reading things coming up real quick because this will come up before that. What are the reading things you're doing? Doing New York, Austin, Los Angeles.
Austin, New York at the 92nd Street Y. Austin at the Paramount Theater, and BAM.
Oh, there might be Santa Barbara too.
It might be Santa Barbara too.
Which I'll come to that for sure.
Chaucer's bookstore, Santa Barbara.
So cool.
And where else? And then we're going to go to London. And we're going to do.
Oh, you
there,
are?
And yeah.
So it's going to be like a little world tour for this book.
Yeah, man. I mean, a few countries have bought it so far, which is a great sign.
And the audiobook comes out with the book at the same time?
Yep, same time.
And then you're going to have some limited posters by Joey Feldman, we hope, which are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And hopefully there might be a documentary someday about your life. Who knows? I might direct it. I don't know what's going to happen. But would you ever want a documentary? Would you ever want to do a documentary about your life?
No.
Yeah.
Somebody
else has to do that.
Somebody else has to do that. If I did it, there'd be...
I'll probably start one right now about you.
Dude, do it. Do it. I can't do it. That would be stupid.
No,
imagine doing your own documentary.
Yeah. What was that one name? Well, that's the last thing. We're going to shut this pod off now. What? But that one name of the band we came up with, and I forgot what it was called. You had a funny name.
What, if we created a band?
Yeah, it was like the weird name a while. Like I forgot it was something.
What was it?
It was like something totally foul.
That's why we have to do part 3.
Yeah, but this has been great, dude. There's so many things. This has been a crazy, crazy year. You've done a lot of things. But I know you're really happy about the book more than anything.
Yeah.
Outer Range was a dope show. It had great seasons. Whatever. On to the next thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what you do next. You have so many things coming out. When does Knives Out come out? Next year or this year?
Next year. I believe.
Okay, yeah.
And then Weapons too.
Next
year.
Oh, Weapons, and then also there'll be a new Dune, which you probably can't talk about. Probably.
No, I can't.
Yeah, but we know there's going to be another one. We just don't know when it's going to be.
Exactly. Very good.
Josh, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you.
I love you.
I'm
too,
fucking
Toby.
starving. All I had was caffeine today. I didn't shit myself. We covered everything.
Let's go outside and shit together. Let's go eat.
Okay, I love you, Josh. Thank you for being here. Thanks to all the listeners. Part 2. Peace, everybody. Bye. Okay, we're back on the podcast. We're back at my house. We ended this episode by talking about the book's out. It's coming out, so the book is out. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I actually read the book, and
you did.
Love the book. We already talked about it 100 times in this episode, but
it's really cool that you read the book. It moved me that you read the book. You were really excited. You'd wake up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, man. I'm psyched to read your book.
Super cool. Thank you.
So how's it feel to have the book out now? I know you just did NYC and you did Austin, and what are you doing Santa Monica tonight?
Doing Santa Monica tonight, doing Godmothers tomorrow in Santa Barbara, doing Riviera Theater in Santa Barbara the day after that, and then I go to London the day after that, and then I'm in London for a week. The book comes out today in London.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you're doing No Country showing on Saturday.
I am. They're somehow like hybriding a showing. I don't know. It's with Chaucer's, which is an amazing Chaucer's, as in the literary figure, which is a bookstore in Las Positas, off Las Positas, that they're doing. I don't know. I can't think, dude.
Yeah, so it's basically you've been on tour for like a week.
Cold, dude.
Yeah, you just
I did the whole thing. You know how like you really want to get strong for a tour, and you're like, right, and you try to be healthy, and you train, and you do all this stuff. I was sick the whole fucking tour.
You look good,
I was
though.
in a fog, but I think there was something to my benefit because it made me stay out of my head.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, yeah, I don't know if I talked about it a lot during the podcast, but I was kind of reeling before the book came out.
Yeah, you were.
It's like you know that because you're my buddy, but
yeah,
I was like, I shouldn't have written this book. I should burn all evidence. I was questioning it all, and I think that's what happens when you're really honest. And the result is, instead of worrying about is the book literarily, valid, is it people consider it literate or whatever. The reactions have not only been varied, but all emotional.
Yeah.
And it all goes back. So instead of them commenting on the book necessarily, they go into their lives, which means that they identify with the book, which means that it resonates with them in a cellular way or an emotional way or spiritual way, which I couldn't ask for anything.
Yeah, that's all. That's all you could ask for. That's incredible. We talked about it on this pod, like how different things I reacted to that connected to my life. So it's interesting to see the whole world has it now, you know?
You were one of the first people, you might be the first person who read it outside of finishing. After finishing it, I think you were probably the first person to read it.
Wow.
Yeah,
yeah, mine's kind of like an advanced copy too. I'm psyched.
It is. You have a galley.
I'm psyched to get the
That's called a
hardcover
galley.
tonight. And how was NYC?
It was good, man. 92nd Street Y with all, Truman Capote read In Cold Blood there. E.E. Cummings read there. Dylan Thomas read there. Kurt Vonnegut read there.
All your heroes.
It's fucking crazy.
It's cool.
150 years of literary history, and I got to be up there and read my own shit.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it really meant something to me. And then we had a dinner afterwards, and Eden, my daughter, got up at the table and gave a speech.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. Talk about emo.
That thing she wrote, I was getting emo reading it the other day about your book. It was awesome, man.
It was like that times 10. I had tears just falling down my face. And
so she hung with you in New York. That's cool.
She did. It was cool.
He did Stern, which was awesome.
Stern, which was great. And then Stern and I went back and forth via, like you and I, voice memo.
Nice, man. That was a really great conversation. The Mark Maron one you did too, that came out.
Mark Maron.
You did Colbert. You did freaking Colbert. You did Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
You did Good Morning America.
Morning Joe. Good Morning America.
Conan.
That was fun.
You did so
and it's all very different. Like I am psyched to hear ours because I'm not like Colbert. I'm close with, but I don't hang out with every day. You and I are like, it's a different deal.
Totally.
It's like two misfits just fucking giggling.
Absolutely.
Or crying.
I listened to this. There's a lot of crying and laughing and poop talk on this episode.
Is there a lot of poop
There's
talk?
a lot. And then also Brothers came out since we first last talked. And
really?
It did really well. Brothers.
It did way better than I thought it was going to do.
Yeah. No, did you watch that when it came out or no?
No.
Okay.
But it came out. It's the only thing that I've ever done that I felt good about. Like the fact that it didn't come out in theaters and it came out streaming, and it's kind of like the perfect movie to just take a bong hit, eat some potato chips, watch Peter Dinklage and Glenn Close and Josh Brolin and Brendan Fraser just fucking go off. It's kind of like a 90s throwback, silly.
It is.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's not PC. It's super funny. It's like Marissa Tomei is great.
Amazing.
Brendan Fraser is great too. It's great to see him have a comeback too.
It's just fun. It was just dumb fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so people liked it. It was a #1 show. I think it's still doing well.
And then also you did Rogan. That just came out today.
Yeah, I did Rogan yesterday. It just came out today.
So you just like New York City, wake up, fly, go do Rogan, then host the thing last night in Austin.
Yeah, man.
Austin was good too, right?
Austin audience was fucking amazing. Book People there, which is the Book People is the bookstore that after Sam Shepard told me about this book that had just come out by Cormac McCarthy called No Country for Old Men, that's the bookstore that I went to.
Wow.
And that's the irony.
That's incredible.
Is they're the bookstore that sponsored my event.
That's amazing.
That's
man.
cool, man.
Yeah, dude. So tonight Cali should be good, and then London. Then is that it for the book tour?
Yeah, I think I don't know, because people are starting to in Europe. People are starting to buy up the book, so I don't know. There was something about the Austin audience, because it was a really literate, fun, alive audience.
Yeah.
That made me want to do other bookstores in other smaller towns. Where
that would be kind of cool. We did that.
Huh?
Not major cities, like some like B markets in different places. Yeah.
I mean, I have this idea of like me and a few choppers just like popping to different towns.
It's kind of sick, dude. Throughout the country.
Great. Yeah. Just stopping in little independent bookstores.
That'd be awesome.
That. Whether it helps the books or not, it's kind of like a fun excuse to go do something.
Also,
like
small towns like that never get stuff like New York City gets and Chicago gets.
No.
Chicago would be good too.
Chicago would be great. I love Chicago. Have you ever been to Chicago?
Of course, man. It's great.
It's amazing.
And the shows there are great.
Great people.
Yeah.
You know?
So Rogan. So yeah, now this podcast is coming out. It's out now, and it's nice to see.
The best for last.
Yeah.
The best for last.
It's cool you pulled up to. We got some PT from this lady named Helen who came today from Remedy.
Yeah,
thank you for coming.
Amazing.
My friend Haley recommended her, and she just took care of us in the garage.
She was really cool.
Did some PT work on us.
Yeah, dude. I'm all contracted. I went surfing with your son. It just fucked me up.
Oh, that's right. We talk about the surf camp. You guys went to surf camp. Max went with you and a whole bunch of people. We had such a great time. The waves look phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Like how long are those waves? Like more than a minute?
45 seconds.
Okay.
45 seconds.
Because the average wave in the ocean is how long, you think?
4 seconds.
Okay.
No, it's not
I don't
necessarily
freaking
true.
know.
It depends on where you are. It depends on what your break is. I just hadn't been out for a long time. For a guy who surfed since he was 11 years old, I imagined myself back then and thought that was going to be the same guy.
Yeah.
It's not the same dude. If you don't go out, if you're not surfing for 3-4 years on a shortboard, then what happens is what happened to me, which is my neck seized, my fucking hips seized.
You were feeling it.
Oh, in such a major way. It was like depressing.
Were you stretching and stuff out there or no?
Doesn't matter, because if I stretch right before I go out you know what I mean? I should have started stretch like a month ago, 2 months ago. I should have been paddling around. It's just there's a reality to, you know, being a little bit older, and you just have to, there's a foundational thing that you have to keep up.
Yeah.
Because if you go do extreme things, if I go, you know, climb Mount Whitney right now without training at all, then I'm fucked.
Totally.
You know, it'd be fun if I train.
Totally.
You know, then I can focus on the kind of technical aspects of it. But
was the water pretty shallow there, and it's also a cement
super
bottom.
shallow.
Yeah. Yeah, Max had
My
a
wife
great
wore a
time.
helmet at one point, and
She
that's what.
did?
Yeah, but the idea of wearing a helmet and
Smart.
protecting yourself, super smart. Then she went top to bottom on a wave, and that was like the most fun. And the kids and I were like up on a tower looking at her, screaming, "Mom, go!"
So cool. Does she surf a lot too, or no?
No. We
Damn.
both haven't surfed a lot since we've had kids. Before that, we were doing it a lot.
Yeah.
But since we've had kids, no.
Yeah, Max got the wave of the day thing. He was really happy. Got a crazy
I
barrel.
don't know
out
what
there.
this wave of the day is.
He got like a T-shirt and stuff.
Every fucking wave that
What's the
Max
wave?
got was great.
Damn.
Everybody else looked like they had, you know, some ailment or like
So Max
handicap.
was ripping it.
He was ripping. And he's only been surfing, what, 3-4 years? 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, man. One thing was funny. I watched about Kelly Clarkson, how like you told her she reminded you of your mom, and she was like, "What?" That was a great moment. So
I had
funny.
said that to her before.
Oh, okay.
And then she wanted, and
She
then
read
she
the
read
book.
the book, and she read the book.
Yes.
She really read the book.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a few people you could tell
Stern
when you
too.
do, like Stern read the book
Yeah.
and identified with the book.
And these are people that read probably a lot more than I
Which
read
is
too.
good, because you have these different, like, if everybody, you know, of course I want everybody to read the book. I
Yes.
mean, that's the whole point of writing the book. You just put
Totally.
it out there, and, you know, and you want people to have a reaction. You want people to identify. You want people to like the writing, whatever. But when you do podcasts with people who pretend to have read the book, I would rather know they didn't read the book.
Yeah.
But when people pretend, they're like, "Oh yeah, your mom. How was that?"
It's weird.
It's like the questions become totally hollow, and there's nowhere to go, and the conversation is just fucking stilted and awful.
And then you're doing all the talking, kind of running it.
And
yeah.
I'm trying to, and then they don't know what to say, and they go, "But how's your dad?" And you're like, "What is it? It's just a general question. Mine's great. How's yours?
Yeah.
You know, what was it like?"
I think it's the least they could do is read the book before they have you on something.
Or at least what I started doing when I found out somebody hadn't read the book, I said, "Just read these passages. Then you'll have a general idea of what it is."
Mm.
But then what I've gotten is people go, maybe they're not enticed to read the book, or they're not inspired to read the book. And then when they read the book, that's 100% of the time. When they read the book and they go, "Fuck, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be this." Like,
Yeah, it's cool seeing people with different reactions to it.
Let's talk about this professional trajectory, and it turns out to be this emotional experience.
Yeah. I think Howard Stern was connecting to a lot of that stuff on there too.
Yeah, in a major way.
It was nice seeing people with different reactions to it, because when we recorded this originally, it wasn't out yet, and now seeing everybody posting about it and talking about it and the reactions and like,
It's cool.
yeah, man,
It's different.
Yeah, I'm sure people that have known you for a long time and now are also learning more things about you, obviously. Like
Or
I have.
the few people that do know me, and they go, "Yeah, I've heard that story."
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're just so nonplussed by the whole thing, which I appreciate too. As I said this on Kelly Clarkson, it was like, my kids, neither one of them have read, my older kids have read the book.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Not yet?
No, it's okay. It's not an ego thing, man.
I know. I think your pops was reading it too. You mentioned on Stern.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah. He said some cool quote to you about it, right?
He did. It was a cool quote. I still can't figure out, because quicksand, like
Oh,
gold,
yeah,
is
yeah.
one thing, and then quicksand is something else. Quicksand brings you down,
It does.
sucks you in, which maybe that's it.
That's a good thing
Sucks
too.
you in, but
Yeah.
then kills you.
Suffocates you slowly.
Suffocates
This book
you
is torturing
slowly.
me.
Maybe that's what it is. You know, he just always keeps kind of a PMA face.
Yeah. Have you started writing, journaling more stuff lately or no?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to write.
So there'll
I
be a
don't
new
know what
book.
I want to. I'm doing a lot of stories right now, but I don't know if I want to do a series of short stories or do a novel or do another one of these, because there's a lot more stories. I could do another version of this. I don't think it would be mom heavy.
Yeah, well, this one you did already in this one.
Yeah, I did.
And so this is like birthing a new baby, putting out your first record. So it's like now you've done it. You know what it feels like. You know what to expect or not what to expect.
But I like this process. It's like music for you.
Yeah.
Music is your expression. Writing
Totally,
is my expression.
Yeah.
Acting is my profession. And
Yeah.
I like it. And there's a lot that I get out of it. But this experience has been life-changing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm excited for the next one and see what happens next for you, man.
Thanks, man.
This is great having you. Thanks for coming to my house. We're going to do a phone call, but we're going to about the sound.
I like
plunge
this
right
better.
Now. It sounds better, too.
Yeah.
Get this weirdo here,
Sorry
too.
about your son, man.
I know.
What's up, Max? I gotta...
You want to go plunge sauna now?
Let's do. I don't know if we should plunge. I think we should go do sauna.
No, sauna's good.
No, we should plunge after that.
I love that you're like a crazy schedule. Tonight things.
Let me have a sip of my liquid death.
Yo, so so the book's out everywhere now. The book is everywhere, right, Josh?
The book is everywhere. It came out in London today. It came out on the 19th in the States. People are starting to buy it up. There's a couple bookstores that have been sold out, which is cool. I heard about, which is super cool.
So cool. And then you went to the bookstore in New York that you love so much. What was that bookstore called?
The Strand.
That's a legendary spot. Even
That's
I know that. I don't even really read books.
Yeah.
I know that spot.
Yeah, man.
That was cool to see your book in there, right?
Finding my book in there and seeing it displayed and all that. Super cool.
Also, I'm honored, not just because we're boys, but you didn't do much as a podcast. I'm happy you did mine. I appreciate that. You did a lot of massive ones, and I really excited you be in my kitchen.
It's a no-brainer, dude.
On some DIY shit in here.
You and I we do this anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't do your podcast for a long time. I'm sure we talked about that, but I didn't do your podcast for a long time.
Just so
I had a hand in you starting the podcast.
Totally.
You had a hand, by the way, in me writing this book.
Brolin book.
And that's the truth.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there like that.
You just started doing it immediately.
Yeah.
When I started experimenting on just Instagram. Instagram was just a platform that I could just fuck around on and experiment and have a good time. But it's like cutting his wrist.
But I think that's where people first saw you writing anyway. We already talked about that. Well, but what was going to say about the book, me writing the podcast. Oh, yeah, I'm glad you waited for a while to come on, so I got some under my belt.
Yeah,
you know
whatever.
What I mean?
I think we would have done great either. You and I didn't have that relationship, you know?
Yeah.
It's like there's a weird, but we've beaten it. This weird formality that happens when you like talk to each other through the thing, and no matter how familiar you make it, there's always some level of familiar.
That's
like
a good point,
formal
actually.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you and
Quiet,
I,
Max.
We're he just flipped you off.
But the weirdest thing is I don't even how we because we didn't even see each other's names the day I thought about this the other day when we met. My name is Toby, it's Josh, shook hands, took a photo. We didn't exchange numbers. We didn't give out last names.
Nope.
Obviously, I knew you were, but it wasn't. There was like no really social media back then, and just
nope.
So weird. It just happened like that.
Just find each other.
It was crossing the street at Melrose at Crossroads. You already know the story, homie.
I know.
How old were you?
Oh, you were there. You
were there. Yeah, he was there. See, I love that you forgot your son was there. How old were you? 11? I know. That's what I'm saying. My halo.
Yeah,
hey, how old were you? 11? You were 11.
No, way younger, dude.
Younger? Were you like 8? I think you were. Yeah.
It was a long time. It's been over 10 years. A long time, man.
You were wearing diapers still.
But how you found? Then you were found each other after that on social media or some fucking shit. I don't
know how that happened, but yeah.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Max, you making food for us?
No, he's like fucking turning the thing. He's like eating beans.
Oh, and plus, can we say you listen to video too?
What?
Can we say that?
The what?
You listen to music video.
Oh.
Without saying
Chris Stapleton? No, we can. I found out. Yeah.
It's coming out?
Chris Stapleton?
Yeah.
It was just right after I surfed, went to Marfa, Texas, fucking limped around Marfa, Texas, doing a video with Chris Stapleton.
That's cool.
And by the way, he just won Best Song.
I saw you posted. That's for that song.
For that song, and he won Best Vocal Artist of the Year.
And there's no video for that song yet.
No, I just did it.
That's incredible, dude. Is you the main guy in there?
So yeah, no, I'm just the guy.
Okay.
You'll see.
That's exciting. That's cool.
And then Chris did a little riff for me for the audible of my book.
Ah, a little riff?
Did you know that?
No.
Oh, I just called him and I said, I'm doing the video and all that. Would you do me a favor? Would you just do a little guitar riff? So the beginning of the audible and the end of the audible is Chris playing his guitar.
That is so cool, man.
He just ran into a studio and started doing different riffs. And I said, would you do this? Would you try one on electric? Would you do the...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to hear that.
Yeah, it's
You were
cool.
so stressed doing that. I heard it came out good. My friend listened to it the other day.
Supposedly it's good.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet.
I don't think you will.
I don't know. I don't know. I wrote the book. I don't need to listen to it. Kind of freaks me out.
Okay, well, thank you, bro. We out of here. We're about the cold plunge sauna.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Love
Thanks
you.
for everything. Love you too. Bye, everybody. Peace. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details of anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations. US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art pico-wave laser technology. Cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Definitely check out One Life, One Chance podcast, episode 281. I have Carmen Brody, Mike McTurnan, and Dustin Ortle from Removery. And this is over a 2-hour conversation. People had submitted questions. It's an incredible conversation breaking down the do's, the don'ts, the fears, process, the results, everything you could imagine about getting a tattoo removed. It's all in this podcast. It's an incredible episode. I appreciate them all coming out for it. So check that out if you want to learn more about Removery and what it's like to get a tattoo removed. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.